It is your prisonplanet.tv memberships that fund so much of what we do here on this operation. And then we're more than happy for the TV show after it's aired live, then be leaked out onto the web to tens of millions of people. That's our goal. It's already Friday. Hard to believe these days. These weeks go by like minutes now, or grains through an hourglass. Ladies and gentlemen, we only have Dr. Paul Craig Roberts, the father of Reaganomics, one of the top 10 living economists, according to Forbes magazine, joining us on a host of issues, the economy, but also the unfolding police state in the second hour for 30 minutes. And we'll have open phones and just a mega massive news. If hauling in evidence of tyranny was compared to fishing, on a regular day we catch 50-pound fish. Today, let's not exaggerate, 1,000-pound fish, 2,000-pound fish. I mean, each one of these articles is just gigantically insane. And when I come in and see this type of news that we've been working on yesterday and today, researching, I just go, come on, Jones, don't go into your perseveration. Don't go into your, overheating, spinning out of control. Be disciplined for America. Get to the news and analysis. So we're going to do that today. And boy, let me tell you, it is just bonkers off the chart. All confirmed, all insane. Just unbelievable. It's red linked up on Infowars.com. And you know what? I'm going to tell my crew to red link basically all these. Because when something deserves a red link, it gets a red link. Sometimes we have one red link in a week. Sometimes we have two in a day. Usually it's about one a week or so. Look at these headlines on Infowars.com. Look at these headlines. U.S. Army buying millions of rounds of Russian ammo. Yeah, almost 4 million. And popular civilian firearms. Buying them up and putting them in warehouses. Even says they just have it sitting there. And this is just one of the purchases last week. Again, the article is up on Infowars.com. U.S. Army buying millions of rounds of Russian ammo and popular civilian firearms. They're buying the Russian handguns, the Russian 7.6239 SKS and AK-47 semi-autos. They're buying their rifles as well. And, folks, 3 million just plus of the AK-47 that no NATO country uses. It's the Warsaw Soviet ammo. And by the way, we did some looking. It turns out, I was looking on the FedBiz site. They've been doing this the last few years. Never before. I mean, you might on one Marine Corps training base have an AK-47, and they get a little bit of ammo procured so they can, learn the sound of it or whatever in Vietnam. And I even made some phone calls to veterans I have in my family, and they said, no, there's no AK-47s. He said, they said, sometimes you hear about the Marines and the Army having them back in Vietnam. And sometimes in country, people preferred those. This is, I think my uncle said he had a little Swedish submachine gun he liked to carry in the helicopter in case they got shot down, which he was shot down 6 times. He will not talk about it, though. We dug through his trunk once, my cousin and I. We were about 12 years old. We're the same age. He's a year younger than me, and read it all. Oh, I guess he's hearing that for the first time here on air. I'm sorry, he was at work when we did that. I apologize. Anyways, he listens every day. Hi. The point is, ladies and gentlemen, he used to deliver special forces into hot zones, and that's why he was shot down so many times. Super highly decorated. He said, though, you never even paid attention when the tracers were coming up. You were just over the site picking people up, and they're shooting at you. And he said they would sit on phone books, and I guess he told some of the stories when I was a kid. They'd sit on phone books and helmets when the bullets were coming up into there. And he said you never got the smell of the blood out of the helicopters either. They smelled like a dead cow. All that rotten blood just cooking down in the parts underneath it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back with U.S. Army buying millions of rounds of Russian ammo and popular civilian firearms. Compelling proof. Department of Defense is also drying up firearms and ammo supply, joining DHS. Obama tells DHS to plan to kill peaceful protesters in sniper attacks. That's been declassified. And Homeland Security is now regulating live entertainment venues. Well, Attorney General Holder has told Russia that they won't torture or kill Snowden. So that means they will torture or kill Snowden for telling the world what everybody already knew. He's really in trouble for saying it's illegal and authoritarian, that they're targeting Congress and targeting the media, something we already knew. They're saying it's illegal to talk about what the criminals are doing. But Russia says they won't extradite because the U.S. is a country known to be run by criminals, known to be hijacked, to where even authoritarian Russia can't even imagine the type of crimes that the banker-occupied U.S. engages in. Admitted torture of children, admitted white slavery programs, admitted narcotics trafficking, admitted murder of journalists. It just admitted crimes on every front. Of course they killed Michael Hastings. I remember back during the Iraq War, they attacked the Reuters hotel, the very floor they were on record in front of journalists, said target Reuters and kill them. And then had Abrams tanks open up on them from a few hundred yards away, basically point-blank range. I mean, we forget all this. We forget them. This is not our government. And the minute we wake up from that nightmare, the minute it can all stop. How Nancy Pelosi saved the NSA surveillance program. Foreign policy publication, The Washington Post, basically a CFR publication, praises her. She's such a great lady. It's so trendy. Here's another one out of Defense One. The NSA's new spy facilities are 7 times bigger than the Pentagon. Yeah, and that's just the ones in San Antonio, Texas, and they're also in Utah, outside Salt Lake, and the one in Fort Meade, Maryland, and others. 7 times bigger than the Pentagon. Hundreds of thousands of analysts. The only part of the economy growing like a cancer. And that's what a smart tyranny does, is that it puts things in place so that the only jobs are in the tyranny or serving the tyranny. And so people make excuses because that's their paycheck. We're converting. I mean, you know, the largest segment of federal aid and scholarships, the feds give your taxpayer money to the major universities, and corporations give endowments, and then it's for data mining and secret police activity. That's all on record. There's people going for degrees. They've been graduating now with Homeland Security degrees for at least 11 years, and they're just everywhere. You'll be at a restaurant, hear them talking. They'll go, yeah, there's Alex Jones. I mean, there's, yeah, Homeland, and they'll go, Homeland Security, like supposed to intimidate me, or I'll be, out at the park at the Barton Springs and hear everybody going, yeah, I was going to be in law enforcement, but now I'm just going to work for the NSA. It's just everywhere. That's what we do in America. That's what we produce. That's the service economy. Even McDonald's is closing restaurants around the U.S., but the new service is tasering you, taking you to a FEMA camp, spying on you, forcing inoculations on you. Oh, it's wonderful government service that we're all getting, and I want to thank the government for all the services. All the free services. Okay, let's get into the ultra-massive stack of news, all posted at prisonplanet.com and Infowars.com, and all incredibly off the charts, off the hook, important today. This is a mega-massive news day, ladies and gentlemen. And no, it's not Zuckerberg that called his users dumb effers and laughed at them with his pump and dump, making $3.8 billion today. In one day. That's up at drudgereport.com, and that is important news. We're going to be getting to all of that. No, this is the news that we're going to cover first. Kit Daniels. We got tips about gun shops around the country not able to get 7.6239. And I was up here about 5 o'clock yesterday in a writers meeting right next door to the studio. We got several offices of writers, but I was in the one just literally 15 feet from where I sit. And these tips were coming in, and I was like, yeah, I was trying to buy some 7.6239 because I don't have enough of that, maybe only 1,000 rounds of it. I said, I went to several gun shops a few months ago, and they said, look, our suppliers, and they listed the names and told me the companies. I even wrote down some names and numbers, meaning to give it to the crew, and then you put it in the car, and the kids get in, it falls on the floor, and then you forget about it. But I guess I went to 3 different shops, kind of on a gun buying spree and ammo buying spree, as I do occasionally. It's I don't gamble. I don't have a lot of other compulsions, but I go in a gun shop. It's or a hunting or fishing place. It's not pretty. I mean, I'm like most cavemen. That's just kind of how I am. And, you know, throwbacks. And so they were all telling me, no. We can't get 7.6239. We can't get the different Russian handguns. We can't get the different imported out of Russia or Bulgaria or anywhere. It's all being bought up. And the word is the Defense Department is buying it all up, and it's being put in warehouses. And then I actually did later trying to get ammo, talked to a big warehouse, and they said, yeah, we've just been told the Department of Defense and Homeland Security is getting it all. And I said, well, wait a minute. I forgot about this conversation in Weldon Henson's office. And I started talking to them, and they said, yeah, and what doesn't make sense is the Defense Department doesn't use 7.6239 or the other Russian Warsaw Pact ammo is what it's called. The West uses stuff different. It's two different competing forces. And so I just forgot about it for a few months. I guess that's been about actually 2-3 months. So it clicks, and I go to the FedBiz site and see if they're buying AK-47 ammo. Boom, just one of the purchases, upwards of $4 million in 7.6239 AK-47 ammo. And the rifles and the handguns that carry other Russian ammo. And folks, that's where it's all going. So we did a little bit of journalistic work yesterday. And by the way, it's a bottomless pit. There's National Weather Service buying more. We're going to break that in a few minutes. He's doing that right now. There's so many hundreds of millions more being bought that we can't even keep track of it. And whatever the manufacturers can supply, they just put more orders in to corner the market. And whatever the Russians and the Chinese can ship from Norinco, the most dirty, you know, whatever ammo. Not saying Norinco's bad, but a lot of that stuff out of China is. It is all just pouring in. Yeah, there it is. FedBiz Ops, AK-47 ammunition.gov. And you can read all the numbers and everything. It's in our article. And it's kind of like we broke 2 million targets paid for by Homeland Security. And the company's mistake was to sell them to the public as well to print a few million more of like no more hesitation. 5-year-old kids, pregnant women, women in showers. And it says to train your cops to kill women and children, to desensitize them. And it was confirmed. The company admitted it and said, hey, don't blame us. No one covered that. No one can handle it. No one can handle it. That broke like 6-7 months ago. No one can handle it. And by the way, I've got like 15 articles here in this stack or more that are all this insane or more. Okay. U.S. Army buying millions of rounds of Russian ammo and popular civilian firearms. Compelling proof Department of Defense, we should probably add, is joining DHS in drying up firearms and ammo supply. Let's say that joining DHS. We should probably, I do editing here on the air. Kit Daniels did a great job on this, wrote this last night and finished it this morning. And it goes through all of it. And they're not just buying the 3+ million rounds of AK-47. They are buying the Makarovs. They're just buying everything. Makarov ball ammo. I mean, no NATO country uses that. And they're storing it where they're storing it, at the Bluegrass Army Depot in Kentucky. And this is just one of the purchases. This was a few days ago. They put the bid out. And so that's why you can't get it. And again, I've talked, in fact, Weldon's got all the names written back there. I need to call that big giant ammo warehouse back, the one in Georgia? Or there was one in Virginia, where they just said, all I've been told, Department of Defense. And this is one of the big warehouses that sells all over the country. And then finally we did the story. So here it is, and it's just off the charts insane. Now, let's move on to the next article. Obama DHS planned to kill peaceful protesters in sniper attacks. This broke a few months ago, but since then, Homeland Security has confirmed that, indeed, this is the Federal Bureau of Investigation directive for squads in Houston, Jacksonville, Florida, it's all over the country, to prepare contractors, feds, and police with suppressed sniper rifles. And then you can find this on the FedBiz site. They've got these thermal, $10,000 3D scopes, you name it, suppressors to decapitate Occupy Wall Street leadership, which itself was just White House-funded front groups, but because they couldn't control it, They then shut it down in DHS raids, but they had an option to decapitate if the crowds got big, just like they do in Egypt, to kill everyone. This is totally legal death squads. The entire leadership of the government should be arrested over this. It's nothing. It's just the rollout of the death squads. This is how they create an army of killer feds, contractors, and police preparing sniper death squads. Our open, mega massive purge in everyone's face. And I want that red linked. That should be absolutely red linked on Infowars.com. And we're also going to add at the bottom of the article the film The Purge. I see they added the text, but I don't see the video. Because I did some editing on it this morning, working with them right before I went on air. We need to add the film The Purge, because you watch that film that's fiction, 90% of it or more is already happened and is real. When they're showing the targets of, these are the targets for no more hesitation of children to shoot them. This is your enemy, the veterans and gun owners. That's all real manuals. They just play out. And we have real video of FEMA teaching this type of stuff. Obama DHS plan to kill peaceful protesters in sniper attacks. Homeland Security is now regulating live entertainment, even small bars. They say you have to get Homeland Security and pay them money. Total federal takeover of everything. Democratic leaders, all Americans may be in communication with terrorists. That's a quote. You're all terrorists, basically. Professor, robots to patrol cities. It just goes on and on. We're going to break it all down. All right, I want to continue reading from the article I put together this morning with Julie Wilson here. And basically what I do is I will do spoken word into a tape recorder, into an iPhone, and then she just transcribes it into the article. So you're going to see more and more articles from me because she's good at transcription. I'm even thinking about bringing a transcriber in here just so I can get stuff done quicker, because I speak a lot better even when I'm off air and more focused to make my points, but that's why it also reads like spoken word. You can read the article at Infowars.com. Obama DHS planned to kill peaceful protesters in sniper attacks. This is how they create an army of killer feds, contractors, and police prepare sniper death squads. Again, this is how they create an army of killer feds, contractors, and police to carry out death squad operations. She took my exact transcript and put that. That's one issue with these transcript articles we have to work on, is that they need to, she's transcribing literally what I'm writing, and then I just need to work on getting it, when I say something that isn't proper English, or I'm talking so quick recording this, we need to update that. Kurt, the regular editor, is out sick today. It says, this is how they create an army of killer feds, contractors, and police prepared. It's prepared to carry out sniper death squad operations. Prepared to carry out sniper death squad operations. And then it continues here with the article. The document above was obtained through a Freedom of Information Act request filed by the Partnership for Civil Justice Fund. You can click to read the document. In June, Infowars.com cited a report by whowhatwhy.com revealing that the FBI was aware of an organized, possibly local police department or private security company that had plans to assassinate peaceful protesters during the Occupy movement. The classified document revealed the FBI was planning, quote, an identified, deleted, as of October, plan to engage in sniper attacks against protesters in Houston, Texas, if deemed necessary, and identified, deleted, had received intelligence that indicated the protesters in New York and Seattle planned similar protests in Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, and Austin, Texas, deleted, planned to gather intelligence against the leaders of the protest group and obtain photographs, then formulate a plan to kill the leadership via suppressed sniper rifles. According to journalist David Linderorf, the FBI planned to assassinate the leaders of the now morbid Occupy movement via suppressed sniper rifles. A follow-up report by Kurt Nimmo confirmed via the document. The following is a transcript of Alex Jones' spoken analysis. And it goes on. It is essential to understand that information is being declassified on purpose to create a chilling effect against constitutionally protected activities like demonstrations and protest. But it's also there to mainline the idea that assassination death squads are operating within America. When you have the president signing the NDAA publicly, saying we can kill, disappear Americans, we can torture, we can do whatever we want, that can then be given to special forces, contractors, and others as the rubber stamp authorization, but still it's fraudulent, who have already been carrying out these types of seek and destroy operations in foreign countries. So they're very, very good at it. So again, they believe this is legal and lawful. In essence, this is a public rollout or testing of the waters, a trial balloon for death squads to operate openly in America. All of this in the name of terrorism when the government itself has become the ultimate terrorist. This is a psychological warfare operation against the police, military, and the general public. It is the mainlining and the normalization of the most barbarous, over-the-top illegal activities the government can engage in. Historically, the open, premeditated plan to murder peaceful demonstrators on a scale that dwarfs the Kent State massacre at those protests. This is a test to contractors, police, and military and feds to see if they will follow standby orders to kill you. This is how they are creating an army of killers. The police need to know this is a psyop aimed at them to see if they will carry out over-the-top evil. We're talking about a truly hijacked road government that's done this clandestinely in the third world for over 60 years and is now bringing it home. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you need to understand this FBI document is talking about federal government, contractors, and local police with suppressed sniper rifles to take out the leadership. Not take out hostage takers, just to kill political opposition. And I was reminded the other day when somebody dug up a video of myself and others. It's over on Mike Hansen Archives on YouTube, protesting the Ku Klux Klan back in 1999. One of my many protests of the Klan when they would come out, basically Fed run to stir up people. I would go out and protest them. I need to go out and do that some more. And in Waco, we're sitting there, and there's a parking garage across from the courthouse. And everybody goes, look, Alex, wherever you go, the police snipers are aimed at you. And so there's video where I start walking over, and they're aimed right at me, and I'm wearing a T-shirt and pants. I clearly have nothing on me. They knew who I was, no criminal record. I was building a memorial church for the Davidians that were murdered. I've even interviewed the sheriff before he died, who was sad about what happened. And so the cops knew who I was, and they were aiming the rifle at me and following me with it until I went over with a camera, and then they stopped aiming it at me, just as pure intimidation. And that's what this is all about, is the plan under InfraGard to even authorize executives and infrastructure protection to be deputized to kill people during a purge. And that came out in several magazines about 6 years ago. You can look up the original articles on InfraGard. So this is all really over-the-top stuff, kind of like NDAA. Secretly kill Americans, secretly torture Americans, secretly disappear Americans. This is real, just like America, the good guys, tortures. The good guys spy on you. The good guys forcibly inoculate you. The good guys kill Pat Tillman and then say he died fighting Al-Qaeda and get caught and nobody gets in trouble. Because it's not the good guys. And because we've been so naive, we've allowed evil to grow and grow and grow. This is not our government. These are criminal elements that have hijacked the nation. And I know I keep going over that, but here are these articles. U.S. Army buying millions of rounds of Russian ammo and popular civilian firearms that the U.S. Army has never used and is not part of their arsenal. And we've got another article coming out very soon about the National Weather Service, again, buying more ammo. I mean, every day there's millions of rounds. One day, the next day it's 100,000, the next day it's 25,000, the next day it's 500,000, the next day it's 3 million. I mean, it's just every federal agency you can imagine is out there just going completely hog wild insane. And how the media discredits this, the controlled media, is they'll go, Alex Jones says there's 1.6 billion rounds bought in the last year. Now it's like 2,400,000,000 or something. And look, Social Security Administration just bought 200,000. They need it. It wasn't 1.6. So they cherry pick. It'd be like, Alex says there's 7 billion people in the world, but he's a liar. There's only 1 million in Austin, Texas. And you're like, that's not even a good lie. You like line item, one of thousands of purchases on CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, and say, I'm a liar on all these shows. So people go, oh, I've been psychologically inoculated to that guy. He's a liar. It was only 200,000, Martha, that they got, not 1.6 billion. Oh, that's that guy that lied and said they were going to have drones over America or blimps. By the way, it's been announced in RT, Reuters today. D.C. is to have blimps over it watching everyone. They launched the blimps in 2003. And it was in local newspapers. And all I did was, look, local news, they've launched blimps. They've got them up over every major city now. And they're powered by solar panels on the top. And they have ground-penetrating radar and face-scanning cameras and laser microphones. And here's Alexander Haig's company that started it all in the early 1990s. Oh, crazy blimps. And then it's just... Look, about 95% of what I tell you is public. I'm trying to explain this to you. I know it sounds crazy. It sounds dystopic to say, oh, they're torturing people's kids in front of them. They're putting poison in the water. Here's a Harvard study admitting it. Here's a White House science czar saying it's to dumb you down. I mean, they're admitting it. This is not my opinion. Have I gone a little crazy knowing this information? Am I in like full verbal combat mode with these people? Has working this hard this long? Have I gotten a little bit eccentric? Yeah, folks, you bet. I'm pretty freaked out right now. And I'm so awake and I'm so aware, it's like torture. It's torture to pick up all the archetypal symbolism in films, the subliminals. It's torture to pick up all the spins, the 10 layers of propaganda on MSNBC, the manipulation, the twisting, the lies. It's unbelievable. These people are all coached by the CIA and big think tanks on how to screw people up. And now that's admitted as of last week. But it was admitted before that. They were like, oh, yeah, CNN's run by the CIA. And people were like, oh, yeah, right. It's like when I had that Esquire writer here. They got a big cover story coming out in the September issue, middle of August. He'd go, Delta Force was at the Seattle thing. And he'd look it up and go, it actually was. Or he'd go, the White House science czar said put stuff in the water to reduce fertility. Yeah, right. He's like, oh, he did. Well, Rachel Maddow says you said they sent the tornado. He went to the full video. He goes, no, actually you didn't. You're right. And I said, the only place you may have me is I say the whole government's evil. That's not true, but the people running it basically are. And then the other people are in such denial right beside it, they'll just give them some flimsy cover story of, you know, you open your door and some guy's on top of your wife and he's like, oh, I'm a doctor doing a gynecological exam. I mean, it's just, you know, oh, okay, thank you, doctor. And he's not even wearing a white lab coat. I mean, she's not even dressed up like a nurse. I mean, it's like, at some point... Folks, you're really asking for it is what I'm saying. For new listeners, for people who think this is all funny, this ain't funny. And I guess I'm kind of a grown-up Boy Scout who ain't a nice guy after all. No more Mr. Nice Guy. Because you dance with the devil doesn't change, you change. Look into the abyss too long, you may become the abyss. I have become the abyss to a great extent. I mean, I've got my one foot in one world and one foot in the other, but I basically am these people now. I've studied it to such a point that very few globalists, they're all compartmentalized, specialized in their criminal area, and I see how They all just work like a symbiotic jellyfish or something. You know, jellyfish are really hive composite creatures made up of hundreds of thousands or millions of single cell organisms. And that's what the New World Order is. It's like a swarm of evil. And I basically have reached master New World Order psych warfare societal annihilation degree. I mean, I know them. I know as much as their top people do. I really do. And let me tell you, man, it is freaky. It is horrible. It is horrible. And I know it's horrible for those of you that are smart and have figured this out as well. I know what people say, I can't listen, I got to tune out of this, this is too intense, but that's going to destroy us, folks. We've got to admit how sick we are and how screwed up this is. And we've got to suppress our instinct to just go nihilistically eat, drink, and be merry because tomorrow we die. Oh, God. I'm watching the cancer of tyranny, of authoritarianism grow, spread its horrible wings over society so it can suck our blood and relative comfort. And I just watched the whole economy converted over to fraud economy, crony economy. You know, civilization is built by a code of honor, a code of ethics, a social contract, and people working together under good common sense rules. But what happens when the social engineers are insane and try to overturn the common law and the common sense and invert things? Well, then it becomes the duty to resist and to not comply and to subvert the subversion, to rebel against the rebellion, to restore the republic. Because I've seen nothing better. Though it was never implemented in full, partially implemented, it created maximum levels of liberty this world has ever seen. Ingenuity, strength, honor flowed from it. Security flowed from it. So evil all came here to take it over because with the goodness came great strength, and then we follow the same cycle of falling. And now the criminals have gotten in control. They're screwing everything up. They've even created a cosmology and compartmentalized, knowing they're going to collapse things, that's good for the earth, Agenda 21, while they do things that are actually horrible for the earth because their real desire is just to hurt things because they're psychopathic. Time to talk to the devil is what's going on here. They've been talking to the devil for a long time, and they like it. It's all they know. It sends a thrill up their leg. To have the devil's arm around them. And we sit here 100% watching Homeland Security with all the agencies in the Pentagon trying to buy up every form of civilian ammo. They're buying every little 380, you name it. I mean, they're buying just everything. Weird shotgun, 20 gauge. They are just absolutely trying to drive up the price out of the general public's hands because they plan a massive civil war in this country where they stage IED attacks everywhere and then say the veterans are doing it and then the veterans are suspect and only Homeland can save us. And that's the real scripting in all the Homeland Security documents, and that right there should indict them all. I mean, you know it's a foreign corporate occupation force really trying to establish the idea of a purge against the American resistance. I mean, this is real. This is really happening. I'm really on air opposing these people. You're really opposing them. This is really happening. And Homeland Security started 12 years ago, 11 years ago or so, saying, I saw it on C-SPAN, you're going to have Homeland Security authorization to have a job anywhere with a national ID card. And now they're going into movie theaters, malls, saying your security has to be certified by us or we're going to put our own DHS in them. And now they're in the shopping malls, and now they're on the streets where I live, and you drive and you see Army. One day I saw Army twice on the streets directing traffic and running checkpoints. And again, all just to acclimate. And military drills, and just you can just see a program that is being brought in. And again, TSA searching people at a San Antonio mall. Yeah, there it is, TSA K9 in San Antonio, near the stroller rental area with a dog. I mean, it's just, it's all happening, and it's just there to get us like animals, domesticated, accustomed to it. And they plan a giant purge, and people are like, well, I'll just go along with it. Well, that's exactly, you're who they want to go after. I mean, if you're a lion, do you go after a gazelle that has its leg broken and isn't running, or that's got a fever and has fallen down, or do you go after one that runs? No, you go after the sickly one. And you people think you're going to grovel to it and learn to lick its boots to the obese TSA person that comes over in the mall to grab your genitals and to prisoner train you, prisoner acclimate you. I mean, they're just going to take you down. They're going to take your bank accounts. They're going to make you do compulsory national service. And it's just so horrible to see America go into scientific evil. And I'm really sorry I have to tell you all this. I mean, it's all just happening. I don't know what to say. And Boston bombing was a beta test. If I get killed for anything, it'll be for exposing that. They are hopping mad at us for that. We blew them wide open. That was a savage blow to the globalists. And they're totally freaking out that alternative press is going to go to their other events as soon as they blow stuff up. So they know we're watching them. They're freaked out right now. And I'm freaked out. And the whole thing's horrible. And it's horrible, 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 horrible. It's a horrible nightmare. It's all a horrible nightmare. And I mean, only repenting is going to fix it. Only admitting how screwed up we are is going to fix this. You know, I saw an article on Infowars.com by Michael Steiner, The American Dream, that had, I don't know, 15 examples. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 16. I can just approximate, but 16 links to mainstream news where at college they make you draw the name Jesus on a piece of paper and then stomp on it screaming Jesus is bad. And if you don't do that, you're expelled. If you, in your poem, mention Jesus, you get in trouble. That's total free speech. That's not separation of church and state. Separation of church and state means the government can't tell you what to do with your religion. You're free to talk about it whenever you want. And I read that this morning, and I went and looked at it, and I remember most of these stories. But, I mean, this is just the last few months. I mean, this is crazy, naked Soviet-style authoritarianism. I mean, this is just 200-proof evil. I mean, this is it's everywhere, and it's worse and worse. And it's so obvious, it's so certified, it's so illegal, it's so horrible, it's so bad, it's so horrible. And it's just going to get worse and worse, and they're going to blow stuff up and come arrest everybody. There's going to be a big shooting war. It's going to wipe out the police and military. It's going to radicalize who's left. They're going to bring in foreign troops. It's all official. America's going to implode. And then after the Civil War, the globalists will buy everything up for 1 cent on the dollar, re-engineer everything. They're going to do a Soviet-style Mao purge on everybody. And it's just at the end of it, I want David Rockefeller and the Rothschilds and the New World Order to be brought to justice. You got to beat them, and they've got to be not allowed to run to Argentina, folks. We are going to beat you. I said I'd get to all the news, and already an hour has almost transpired. I mean, just look at these headlines. U.S. Army buying millions of rounds of Russian ammo that they don't use to dry up the market. On record, boom. This is off the charts. And the inexpensive, well-functioning firearms that so many people that can't afford expensive AR-15s are getting. So instead of an SKS being $60 back when I bought one 20 years ago, they're now $500. Department of Defense. Your money to make sure you can't get guns. Obama DHS plan to kill peaceful protesters in sniper attacks. Oh, yeah. Homeland Security is now regulating live entertainment. Paul Watson up on Infowars.com. Indiana DHS demands restaurant owner get permit to play live music. There is no more local government if they have their way. Democratic leaders, all Americans may be in communication with terrorists. And they say that if you're in communication, even not knowingly, you can be secretly killed or disappeared. Lawmakers endorse NSA spy with bizarre justification, saying everyone is a potential terrorist, but them that actually work with al-Qaeda publicly and are giving al-Qaeda weapons right now, publicly. That's just some of the news. UK web censorship filter controlled by communist Chinese front group. You cannot make that up. Well, of course, they're the experts at it. That's up on Infowars.com. Pentagon to deploy huge blimps over Washington for D.C. for 360-degree surveillance. They are not about to deploy them. They're just deploying another fleet. It's kind of like the ocean's going to start becoming wet. Told you about that. Told you about that many years ago. Dr. Paul Craig Roberts, former head of policy at the Treasury, the father of Reaganomics, is joining us for 2 segments to get into the economy and what he calls how the U.S. became the USSR. Great article at Infowars.com. He's going to be joining us. This happens every few months. I come in, and at night and in the morning, and then on the air, I don't get depressed so much because I don't really get depressed. I get really freaked out. The enormity of what we're facing and the fact that I'm not making this stuff up. Like sometimes when I'm talking to mainstream reporters and they're trying to convince me I'm wrong, I'm like, it's really sexy. I mean, it's like, It's almost like you're talking to, a beautiful woman or something and you're trying to control yourself not to drift in and just kiss them. But it's like the idea. You're like hearing them, yeah, the New World Order is not real and it's not bad. It's almost like a dream. You ever had something really bad happen? Family in the hospital, car wreck, something bad. You go to sleep, forget about it. You wake up happy. And then the bad thought comes back into your mind. You're like, no. That was the dream. The bad thing was the dream. So I want this to not be true. That's why I've psychoanalyzed why I like being attacked by the media, because I'm not a masochist. I don't like being hurt. I like being attacked because it's almost, I get the propaganda. They're like offering, it doesn't have to be real. You can go back into the matrix, and even though I don't sell out spiritually or intellectually, I still kind of want to go, yeah, I can just for a moment go, yeah, I'm wrong. Yeah. See, they're almost giving me aid and comfort. Yes, Rachel Maddow, you're right. There's no weather weapons. They're not spraying aluminum dioxide on my family in the northern hemisphere. I don't have to move to the southern hemisphere. I can be immoral and stay here in Austin, Texas. So I move my operations to the southern hemisphere. You're right. Nothing's wrong. You're right. The fluoride in the water's not bad. You're right. You're right. The GMO's not bad. You're right. You're right. They need to have Homeland Security training to arrest gun owners and veterans en masse and put us in re-education camps and use the term re-education camp. You're right. I mean, maybe the veterans need to be put in re-education camps. Maybe Mao was good. Maybe Stalin was good. Okay, yeah, okay. Maybe that's what a re-education camp is. I mean, Winston Smith at the end of 1984 is at the Chestnut Cafe drinking synthetic gin. And, he used to write the propaganda. He knows they've been at war with East Asia and then not at war and then at war and then not at war. But really, they're not even at war. It's a global government. They're just rocket attacking each other's cities. It's really a war on individuals. He knows all that, but he even knows how Big Brother suddenly is going to turn this big defeat and this battle in Africa around. And then he hears it, and he even knows a month before he'd written that script, getting it ready before he'd been taken in for torture. But it doesn't matter that he even wrote the fraud he's now hearing. It doesn't matter. He loves Big Brother. He loves it. I love it. I love Obama. I just had the epiphany. Yeah. White people are bad and are racist. Turning our guns in are good. Freedom's bad. Freedom is 101 million people on food stamps and government food aid. And Obama wants to get the country going, so he's shutting all the big power plants down and the industry and harassing every small business into the ground and paying $21 billion to ship the jobs, the General Motors to China. I mean, thank you. Yeah, we're winning. I just realized it. I could feel like the average MSNBC viewer, like, just watching. Yeah, we're winning. Because that's all they say on the show is, we're winning, everybody loves it, there's no tyranny, secret arrest is good, torture's good, open borders are good, bombing Libya and Syria is good, funding Al-Qaeda is good, insurance companies writing Obamacare to rip you off, written by the Republicans, it's good, because Obama's beating Republicans, and it's good. Woo, yeah. Man, I'm starting to understand it now. It's all hitting me right now. And that's what all this is about, fantasy land. The fake Republicans are in their fantasy land. They're on the winning team. The Democrats are in fantasy land. And, my problem is I don't live in fantasy land. And you know what? Maybe I'm going to immigrate to Fantasyland. When we come back, we're going to talk about how great Obama is. All the great things he's doing for you and your family. Ladies and gentlemen, until the bottom of the hour, we're going to be joined by Dr. Paul Craig Roberts. Then I'm going to get back into the blimps being launched nationwide. They were actually launched more than a decade ago, but now they're going to officially let you know you're being watched 24/7 by blimps that operate off of solar power with ground-penetrating radar looking through your walls. Oh, yeah, the NSA isn't just going to listen to everything you do. And, of course, Congress voted to continue the illegal spying. So that's a public certification of felonies. UK web censorship filter controlled by Communist Chinese Front Company. That's up on Infowars.com. Big breaking news. The BBC even admits that. So what's the difference? Communist Chinese or the BBC? Obama DHS plan to kill peaceful demonstrators in sniper attacks. That's a FBI declassified memo. Peaceful people, just a plan to decapitate them, kind of like they do in Egypt. Decapitate the opposition. U.S. Army buying upwards of 4 million rounds of AK-47 ammo, despite the fact that they don't own any of those weapons, and that's not used by NATO to dry up the supply. And I was told that by a big supplier. We checked it out at the Federal Biz site. It's true. Homeland Security is now regulating live entertainment and rabbit magic shows. You have to get a special plan. Indiana DHS demands restaurant owner get permit to play live music. So there's just total federalization. It's not even federal. It's just corporatization, New World Order. Democratic leaders, all Americans may be in communication with terrorists, show hints, no more warrants needed. See, you're all terrorist, folks. They say if you're in communication with a terrorist, even if you don't know or give money to one or a group that does, you can be disappeared, NDAA. So it's all there. That's just some of what's coming up, your phone calls. I'm going to premiere some of the leaders in the Paul Revere film contest in the next hour and take phone calls. And then I want to get into the name of Jesus has become a dirty word in politically correct America. See, Michael Snyder's a great writer and a great compiler of factoids. That's the kind of writer I love, an American Dream. But the headline should be, incredible authoritarianism as Christians persecuted in America. I mean, you read this, it's like people being kicked out of college because they won't stomp on the name Jesus on a piece of paper as part of sensitivity training, or people expelled for in their speeches they give or whatever saying the word God. I mean, it's just beyond Soviet Union. And by the way, that's why he's joining us. He wrote the article, Role Reversal, How the U.S. Became the USSR, best-selling author Paul Craig Roberts, Dr. Roberts, the former head of policy for Reagan at the Department of Treasury, the father of Reaganomics. You can go to paulcraigroberts.org, his amazing website, to find all of his stuff. I tell you, the twilight zoning of the world just gets crazier every few months when we have you on, Doc. What is front and center for you in the wild, abandoned orgy of blooming tyranny?
Well, it seems to be in full bloom, doesn't it? I mean, now they're demanding, the National Stasi Agency is demanding that all of our passwords be turned over to them as well. I don't know why they need them. That's fine, yeah. But they're demanding that. So I think it's just to establish that they're the law. There's no statutory law that lets them make this demand. But we now are ruled by the executive branch. And the Congress and the judiciary are irrelevant. If they were to make a ruling or decision that the executive branch didn't approve of, it would just be ignored. So we're ruled by the executive branch. And what we know is the executive branch is no longer accountable. It was established in the Bush regime that the executive branch is above the law as long as there's a war against terror. And, of course, we've been told this is a war for many ages. It won't go on for a long time. So we have a Caesar. It's the entire executive branch. And any aspect or part of this executive branch can act without getting presidential clearance. They just have the power of all of them being Caesars. And so that's how we live. Now, Americans will say, oh, this is preposterous. They've not done anything to me and blah, blah. And that's true. They haven't done anything to most people.
Except ship your jobs overseas and jack up your taxes and make mega bankers exempt and stuff.
Yes, on the economic scene. But I'm talking about that was done by the corporations in Wall Street. I'm talking about the executive branch. It now has unaccountable power, and so there has been a coup d'etat. You see, the United States is defined by the Constitution, and the government is constrained by the Constitution. But since Bush, the government has been unconstrained by the Constitution. These are all impeachable offenses, yet Obama gave the approval, or the Obama regime gave the approval to the overthrow of the Constitution by the Bush regime, and has proceeded along the same lines.
Yeah, Chris Hedges says he's doubled down. I would say tripled down.
Well, it doesn't matter. He's increased. It's gotten worse. And so we no longer have rights. For example, if they decide, if anyone in the executive branch of any consequence decides that a person is suspicious, that person can be picked up and imprisoned indefinitely without any accountability to a court, a judge, no presentation of evidence. Apparently, they don't even have to tell your associates or your family, your friends, what's become of you. And if that's inconvenient, they can just have you murdered. They can send a Hellfire missile from a drone and blow you up. And it's not accountable. It's not an action that has to be...
Or put cyanide in your drink, or poison Breitbart, and then the coroner who did the autopsy, and they admitted he was murdered, and say, we're not going to investigate the dead coroner.
Well, I'm sure there's all kinds of things that they can do because they're not held accountable, and people who try to expose them, like yourself, are dismissed as conspiracy theorists who are crazed and think that the government is evil. So the gullibility of the people is one of the greatest handicaps for the people retaining a constitutional order or their civil liberties. And what's happening, in my opinion, Alex, is that the police state is more entrenched and is getting more confident. And it's so much more confident that soon exposing it will have no prospect of having any effect. Soon, even, I think, if the Congress were to act, it simply wouldn't have any power behind it. Because when a police state becomes very confident, it simply no longer worries about public perceptions or other former institutions that had power. It just simply prevails. So I think that's what we're headed into.
Sure, I mean, this is the pattern of history. So let me ask you, with your historical research and talking to colleagues around the world, where does it end? Because now the minions of government are getting more and more arrogant and are going, what, we're not accountable? Because this historically spreads downward, and then everything starts getting stolen because no one can stop the criminal government until things collapse. What do you see coming from this?
Well, they've been stealing for some time. You know, the police, there've been various news reports of police stopping traffic on interstate highways. And if you've got cash, they simply take it. They say, well, this cash is proof that you're dealing in drugs. Otherwise, you wouldn't have this cash. And so we're seizing it because it's contraband. You know, they can do just about whatever they want.
We've become Mexico.
Probably worse, because there, the drive, I think, is just crime and greed. And here, I think it's even worse. There's an evil force behind the drive for power.
No, exactly. I agree. This is a scientific evil, not a third world oligarchy.
Yeah, and the drive for power goes far beyond the American citizens. They want power over the whole world.
And we're going to be the fuel to do that. I mean, the people in an empire that's going for broke, look at Nazi Germany, it don't go too good.
Yeah. That's right. I mean, once you know, there were, for a period of the Nazis' early years, they could have been stopped, but all the institutions just collapsed. And so the power of the party prevailed. The same thing in the Soviet Union under Stalin. He was able to put on show trial all the heroes of the Bolshevik Revolution, and even convict Bukharin, who Lenin declared to be the golden-haired boy of the revolution. Bukharin was convicted of being a capitalist spy and executed in the prison. So once this gets out of control, it's out of control, and there's no real way of putting it back under control. Now, what I've always said in the past when we've talked is that the basis for the United States power is a little bit shaky. The economy is no good. We've lost our manufacturing prowess. Our great cities are collapsing. I mean, like Detroit. Just the other day, there was a report that homes in Cleveland now are being boarded up. Cities like St. Louis, once very prosperous, now have 19% of their housing vacant. So the cities are collapsing. The jobs the good jobs are gone.
Stay there, doctor. I want to come back and get your prognosis and then ideas to pull us out of this. Though it appears the insanity of tyranny is growing, we're enjoying all the blessings, some call them curses, of a big, fat, out-of-control, corporate-run government. We'll be right back. Dr. Paul Craig Roberts joins us. I'm your host, Alex Jones, again. Thank you for tuning in today on this Friday edition. I'll be back this Sunday live, Lord willing, 4 to 6 p.m. Central Time. And if you've done any historical research, what we're talking about here is just verified fact. This is now really the coming out of the closet of the military-industrial complex owned by offshore multinational corporations that are leveraging the U.S. in their takeover worldwide, but at the impoverishment of the U.S. So do we collapse like the Soviet Union? Is that the best we can hope for? Or I do see people waking up to the social contract being broken. I do see pretty much everybody. Every cop I walk by in Austin says, "Hi, Alex, we're awake." In fact, it keeps happening live on live video shoots. Cops walk by and wave and say, "Hi, Alex." It happened again last night. So I'm seeing a lot of people wake up, but they feel powerless. Dr. Roberts, what comes out of all this?
I think collapse. You know, we have a huge triple bubble, don't we? We have the bond market bubble, the stock market bubble, and the currency bubble, the dollar bubble. And to keep all these bubbles afloat, they have to intervene in the gold market and sell naked shorts to drive down the price of gold. They have to get the rest of the world to intervene in currency markets and support the dollar. They're now trying to finish these two so-called free trade pacts, one with Asia, one with Europe. And then the real purpose of these pacts, Alex, is to draw so much of the world into dollar-structured trade relationships that they have to support the dollar. So they're desperate to keep the thing afloat, but it's such a big house of cards, one doesn't know that they'll be able to. If, for example, the second downturn of the current Great Recession occurs this fall or this winter, they haven't a remedy. The unemployment will rise further. It puts more pressure on the budget, which becomes larger. And they're not really all that smart, the people in charge. And so it could be a big collapse that just they get overwhelmed by problems, and they're not having as much success in their foreign adventures as they thought they would.
Well, they're also certainly gearing up for collapse, and from their own admissions, plan to use an orderly collapse to pose as saviors and bring in authoritarianism. But instead, people now understand that they've basically been the authors of it. So I see them losing the public, Doctor. That's my point. I'm really seeing signs of that. Is that positive, or do you not agree?
Well, I think Americans are gullible, and some of them are beginning to wake up. But you say they already have authoritarianism. They don't need to have a collapse to impose it. They've already done that. The Constitution is a scrap of paper. It has no more authority.
There has been a coup over our form of government, as you wrote last week, in coup d'etat. So what do we do?
I don't know. If we tried to organize anything, they'd pick us up because they would know it as soon as we began. I think, Alex, the only way out is collapse, or else the rest of the world simply says, we've had enough of being your lackeys, your puppies, and we're not going to be paid by you any longer, and we're going on without you. They simply cease to pay any attention to us or to deal with us. It's not like we've got much to offer. You know, the domestic market, which the foreign countries liked for their exports, is drying up because the incomes are drying up. You know, you can't have a consumer economy on Walmart part-time wages. So as the ability of the American economy to support the kinds of consumption levels that are associated with past American history, that's dying off. So our value to China and to Taiwan and to Germany and the people who export here and have trade surpluses, which have been to their advantages in the past, that aspect is going away. So they may simply find it's too inconvenient, or all the pressures to support a currency.
And then you've got Israel with cruise missiles hitting Russian emplacements in Syria, and Russia launching, nuclear bombers openly with talk in Russia about nuking Israel. I mean, this really is one of those times like before World War II or World War I, but now we have nuclear weapons, where the climate is there for a political tornado.
It's very dangerous. It's very dangerous, and the public is very slow in seeing this and waking up. Look, we've lost habeas corpus. We've lost the right to life. But what are the only rights that anyone's focused on? It's politically correct rights.
Hold on, I want you to comment on that. Well, we got to go to break. Do 5 more minutes with us on the political correctness if you can. We'll be right back. Okay, thank you. Well, I want to hear what you have to say on that. That's right. They've replaced it with fake synthetic football rights that we debate all day. All right, going to do about 5 more minutes with Dr. Paul Craig Roberts. It's always hard to just get him on for 2 segments because he talks about so many important things. Then I'm going to hit news and take phone calls into the next hour. 800-259-9231 for first-time callers on this Friday. First-time callers today, 800-259-9231. What do you think of almost 4 billion rounds of AK-47 ammo? And the Pentagon admits they don't use that in combat, and they're just storing it in warehouses. And I looked into it. This isn't being shipped to Syria. That's separately going on. So just a lot of craziness to drop the market. What do you think about that? All the stuff that's going on, 800-259-9231. Dr. Roberts, I didn't think to bring that up, but I mean, we concur on the whole social engineering. I've noticed they've replaced football issues of gay marriage and, the racist white people mantra to divide and conquer. And then how about the right to not have $85 billion a month in QE3 devalue our currency? How about the right to not, have all these illegal wars to bankrupt our country and destroy our name? I mean, they have synthetically brought in all these fake issues. Quantify that, because I think you were starting to go there.
Well, what I was saying, Alex, is all the important civil liberties have been overturned. And what they've substituted are homosexual and lesbian rights, that is marriage for homosexuals and lesbians, voting rights issues, and abortion rights. So these are the 3 civil liberties that are in the news that the country is worked up over, either for or against. Even the American Civil Liberties Union is mainly preoccupied with these issues, not with the destruction of the Bill of Rights. None of these issues, of course, are in the Bill of Rights. There have been efforts over the years to sort of read them into it. And they, no doubt, are important to some people. But they're not important on the level of habeas corpus. They're not important on the level that the government cannot murder you. They can only execute you after a trial and evidence presented, and you're being convicted. Well, all of these, and you have due process, in other words. Well, these have been overturned. And you don't find any discussion of it in the media. What you find discussion of is voting rights, abortion rights, gay rights. Well, this shows, the supremacy, or the success, rather. It shows the success of the police state in substituting nebulous, relatively unimportant issues for the United States Constitution.
I'm glad you're saying that, because no one else is really saying that but my show, and I know you've been writing about it. And that freaks me out, that it's so clear the program they're using, and that the libertarian and conservative type groups aren't sophisticated enough to get it. I'm not bragging. I'm just shocked that we're smarter than most people. I mean, that's kind of freaks you out when you don't think you're that smart, and you realize the general public and even other pundits aren't that. They're smart in ways, but they're just not sophisticated. And then there was always a real left, in a way, that was pro-civil liberty. They had some problems and things, but they were still pro-liberty. Now they're just a pure fascist club, and all they care about is that their black guy is in power, and it's really like a Hitler cult or something. I mean, isn't this the fall of a genuine left, what we've seen?
Yes, I don't think there is a left anymore. You know, a Counterpunch has, which was the main sort of intelligent left publication, they have acknowledged that there's no longer a left. And I think that's true. For that matter, there are not any real conservatives either. They were replaced by the neocons. So the kind of way people of my generation, I notice that among lifetime friends, they still think like it's the liberals and the conservatives, and the liberals are doing it, they're not any. There's a police state, and there are all these people who have these sorts of issues that are very important to them, but don't bear on the duration or the ability to have a free society. So, I mean, we had a free society without having abortion rights or gay rights. So, as I say, I'm not saying these are not important rights to some people.
But it's a diversion on purpose being deployed. Well, I mean, look at this. Sure.
It's a diversion on purpose, exactly.
But I mean, look at the CIA we've known has been involved in the media since it began. But now it's just, oh, we're going to run the media now, and we're going to propagandize and use psych warfare. It's corporate, scientific, cold-blooded psych warfare, bottom line, destroying the foundations that let these corporations even develop, to where all the rich people are having to get armored redoubts now because they stole their loot and destroyed their own future. I mean, I'm agreeing with you more and more that these people are just crazy. I mean, they have a weird cosmology framework of an excuse, but the truth is, this New World Order is just a bunch of crazy people.
Yeah, they've used lies and deception to steal accountability of government from the people. And when you don't have an accountable government, that means you have a police state. That means the government is not subject to law.
But the elite always get purged and robbed by their own groups. This is the worst climate, Doctor. I know you're a historian as well. Tell me if I'm wrong. Isn't a tyranny a horrible climate for the elite as well?
Yes, but they often lead into it because the initial part, they're controlling the government. You know, the powerful interest groups control the government, and they use it for their own enrichment, but by making the government unaccountable, they enable the police state to rise up, against which they're powerless. You know, the elites thought they were going to control Hitler. I can remember I had professors who were refugees. They were Jewish refugees from Hitler when I was an undergraduate, and they confirmed that the German business elites, including many of the Jewish upper class people, thought they would control Hitler and just use him for their own advantage. But of course, once you get unaccountable power, then it can be used against you too. That's what the elites always overlook.
Unbelievable, Dr. Roberts. Folks can find your new book at your website, Dr. Paul Craig Roberts. Site, again, folks, is absolutely vital. We carry his articles at Infowars.com, but paulcraigroberts.org is the place to visit. And I have hope. I am seeing a bigger awakening. I talked to somebody I know that works in the county government, and he said basically all the county buildings at lunch listen to me, and they all know basically what's true, and they're all freaking out. Every cop I come across, even in other cities, I mean, everyone, even in England, I had the cops hugging me, not as a psyop, but saying we're awake. I had MI5 giving me info that turned out to be accurate. And I mean, you could tell these people were genuine. They're freaked out about their future. But I hope there's some way now. I think that's why they're announcing NSA and the spying and the hit teams, is to scare everybody and to scare not so much leakers or whistleblowers, but people in government who have moral authority from the inside with the public to say this is wrong. Snowden's crime is exposing what we already knew and saying it's illegal. It's not that he's leaking anything that wasn't secret, in my view.
Right. Well, you know, President Jimmy Carter said the other day that the United States no longer has a functioning democracy. To my knowledge, this was never reported in the United States, only in Germany by Der Spiegel.
That's right. It was on one Georgia TV station, and then Der Spiegel picked it up. And you would think a former president saying that you would hear that everywhere, but that shows the control. Like the drills. Go ahead.
Right. No, it does. You're right. It shows the control. The print and TV media are a propaganda ministry. That's all they are. You've made that point over and over.
Amazing. Just amazing. Dr. Roberts, have a good weekend, and we're just here just trying to put out the SOS to the world, the messages in the bottle, and we just hope people at every level do whatever they can to just even passively slow down the wheels of this thing. And it's sad to say the best we can hope for is collapse.
Well, keep it up, Alex. You have a big audience, and you'll wake some more up.
God bless you. Thank you. Well, the behind-the-scenes attacks are really heating up. I'm not giving the enemy any intimidation coverage. I know they intend that, but it's getting scary over here. So, yeah, it's definitely 2 minutes to midnight. Thank you, Dr. Roberts.
Pleased to talk to you, Alex.
It was good to talk to you. And folks, I think you need to understand, you don't know how long shows like this will be on the air. I mean, we may hold them back. And when I see people in the alternative media, because they're COINTELPRO or cognitive infiltrators, like Sunstein talks about, or just been propagandized by this sick culture and are just jealous of anybody that sticks their head up and are Monday morning quarterbacking or backseat driving what I'm trying to do, nobody's a bigger critic of myself than I am on the real things I do, because I know this is for all the marbles, my family, your family, my life, your life, but I'm really in the fulcrum. I mean, I'm in the maelstrom. I'm in the heart of it. And I know how real this is. I know how serious the stakes are. But we're here trying to hold the New World Order back at the door, and they're ramming it. And now, I mean, there's big pieces of the door knocked down. We're at the gates trying to hold it up. There's spears sticking through, stabbing political people. Reporters are being killed. Dirty tricks are happening. IRS is going after everybody. State, federal agencies are just messing with us 24/7, and I don't even give it attention. Just support us, folks, because believe me, this is evil we're facing, and you've seen it. And you know, drums in the deep. They are coming. They are here, and it's not on our doorstep. It's in our house now, and it's moving quickly now, because it knows that humanity is waking up to it. We're in the fight, ladies and gentlemen, but this is not a game. This is not a game, ladies and gentlemen. This is not a joke. I just hope you understand words. I don't have words after I read 100, 200 articles a day I scan over, or the video clips, or all the research and preparation we do for the show, and then I don't get to 10% of it because I'm mainly just marveling here on air. Everybody's under red level attack, and I need you to wake up to that, especially new listeners. And we're here trying to hold it back where everybody's going, where's the New World Order? Where's the spying you said? Where's the And I'm like, where's the spying? Where's the tyranny? The government's going to come get us, you said 18 years ago, and now they are? You're discredited. What you said came true. And they play these psych warfare games of nanny, nanny, boo-boo. You watch MSNBC or any of it. It's about, you're discredited. You said we bought bullets, and we did. You said there were blimps surveilling us, and we are, because you're a kook. You said the CIA's running weather warfare in America, and now it's in the BBC and Associated Press. You're confirmed right again. Ah, ha, ha, ha. And I'm like, what does that mean? I mean, it's just reached cuckoo level. It's reached absolute cuckoo crazy level. And I guess everybody else have been conformist. Maybe I have been a true individualist and have not been a conformist. I don't conform in my life. I conform to whatever seems natural, whatever seems wholesome. And I mean, everything the New World Order does stinks to high heaven. It's bad. Let me tell you about some amazing information, some really important information. And it also is super important because it funds our operation. And then I'll go to your phone calls and then in all the news. I'll get to the news next hour after I take some more of the calls. But I want to settle down here and reset from kind of streaming the consciousness of reality here. Reality is so amazing. And I refuse to live in fantasy land. I'm not going to immigrate to fantasy land like half of my brethren in this country and people in other nations have done. I mean, I want to live in reality and make preparation for it, as Patrick Henry said. First off, Modifylon is an amazing thyroid booster, organ booster, hair, nails, everything. From all the scientists, doctors, pharmacists, Ben Fuchs, the health ranger, they all have recommended the brown seaweed that the Modifylon brand has that's called kombu by the natives. And this is from the southern hemisphere down south of Australia and New Zealand. And it's the best out there, and we have it at the best price at InfoWarsStore.com. And I take this 3 times a day, and it just gives me amazing energy. In fact, a lot of times now, I'll just have a Pollen Burst Plus and some of this if I'm working until, say, 10 at night. And then not drink coffee. And I don't have that headache and stuff that coffee gives me. 3 pills a day is what I take. And then, of course, they have the new, because it has over 100 ingredients, so it was really hard to say that it was non-GMO and get it certified, even though most of it was non-GMO and organic, the old Beyond Tangy Tangerine that I like the flavor of. I like this flavor, too. It's grown on me. At first, I liked the old flavor more. The peach citrus fusion. It's now only been out a few weeks. It's already their best seller. InfoWarsHealth.com and get free shipping on it. Certified, non-GMO, pesticide-free, whole food. Beyond Tangy Tangerine, citrus, peach fusion. The ultimate multivitamin mineral complex, whole foods, trace minerals, antioxidants, probiotics, prebiotics, amino acids, essential cofactors, and more. 8,000 ORAC total per serving. And ladies and gentlemen, it is 100% natural, non-GMO, organic, and it's available at InfoWarsHealth.com. You get the lowest price on it. You can get free shipping when you sign up for AutoShip. You pay a $10 thing like Costco does. You become a member and distributor and get even bigger discounts. InfoWarsHealth.com. And there's also a toll-free number there on the site at InfoWarsHealth.com if you want to call and ask any questions or get help signing up. It's easy to do, but if you need any help, 888-789-9277, 888-789-9277. Make the commitment today. And with all the toxins of the environment and the rest of it, we've had the Clemson study on Beyond Tangy Tangerine, folks, the old one with the, 90-something% killing of cancer colon cells. That's Clemson, folks. These are real studies. Kind of mirrors what Linus Pauling got the Nobel Prize for. But the point is that this isn't a game. I promote the real deal here, okay? And I'm not going to say it's a cancer cure. It is undoubtedly preventative and something that everybody should be doing. So it's a win-win-win. InfoWarsHealth.com. And also then purifying your water. We have the best prices on the ProPure system, the best gravity-fed stainless steel. See the side-by-side comparisons at InfoWarsStore.com. They've got the Pro 1 filters that cut out the fluoride as well, all of it at once, or the older system that's just as good, but it's a little bit more. It's 2 systems that you put together. And so it's all there. The ProPure, 10% off, promo code WATER. You can also call here to our offices. You can get the books, videos, T-shirts, ask questions, or order the Pro 1 ProPure systems, 888-253-3139, 855-331-39. And the number is also up on the shopping cart, InfoWarsStore.com, to get the Pro Pure. We'll be right back. Monday through Friday, we're here, 12 noon to 3 p.m. Eastern. Sundays, 4 to 6 p.m. Central, 5 to 7 Eastern. What would that be, 2 to 4 Pacific, 3 to 5 Montana, Mountain Time? All right, I want to go to your phone calls. We'll do that till, I don't know, near the bottom of the hour next hour. Then I want to premiere segments of several films that are in the Paul Revere contest that I will announce third place Monday, second place Tuesday, and the $100,000 winner on next Wednesday. And it's been a big success. Please go see the amazing films. They're very entertaining, very enlightening, every subject you can imagine. 300 plus of them that we thought made the grade to get on the site, Infowars.com/Paul. And you can see the top 35 there. And it doesn't mean, I say those are the top 35. I'm looking at some of the others too might be in the running. It's driving me crazy. I can't decide. But I'll have to by Monday. I've already pushed it back a couple days, so that's coming up. Also, speaking of films, I walked out of a movie last night and 2 cop cars pulled up. So I went and put one of my magazines on one of the cop car windshields, and one of the cops gets out and says, "Hey, Alex." And they go in. They probably had some people fighting or something. Who knows? They didn't look like they were in too big a hurry. And people always think it's fake, like I'm on the hike and bike trail and cops come by and go, "Hi, Alex," while I'm shooting a video. Or, it happens constantly. Any video I'm shooting in public, if cops come by, they go, "Hi, Alex." So people think it's like a production. It's real. It happened. It's not a big deal. People go, how do they know him? I told you, I have 15 million listeners a week, folks. That's conservative, okay? In England, it's like, how does the cop wave at him on the bridge by Big Ben? He must be, with the British intelligence. No, the people know who I am all over the world, folks. And I'm not bragging, but liberty's popular. The show's a big deal, okay? And so I did satire, police respond to only God forgives movie review. And it's not satire, it's satire, to be clear when I say that they're going to arrest, what's his name, Eric Schmidt of Google. Because Eric Schmidt was on the magazine, so that part's that. I want to be clear, they weren't arresting him. That was just a joke I threw in there, but it's real video. Earlier it said police respond to only God forgives movie review. In fact, you can punch my computer up in here. I just had them add satire. I think satire should go to the end, guys. It goes in the end or in the note or put it in the comedy section. The point is it's a real video, but I still see it as satire, what I'm saying. Now, Only God Forgives is very gratuitous, very violent. I don't particularly like that part. I think it's a horrible film, but also a genius film. And it's very thought-provoking art because it hits you on many levels. And I will do a brief review of Only God Forgives that I saw with some of the crew, the TV crew last night. My dad went too. And I said, what was the movie about at the end? He goes, only 1 in 20 will get it. The cop's psychic, and it's kind of like a good versus evil, and this is what the devil does, and this guy's basically like an angel, but it shows that good can be very, very vengeful as well. And there's also kind of an Asian exploit, like Machete or the black exploitation films where the black guys are killing all the bad white guys. It's also kind of like that, but it's produced by a French / I think German guy. So it's not really a Asian exploitation film. It's not even aimed at the Asian market. It's bizarre. It's like 2001 Space Odyssey, avant-garde, but very disturbing. So kind of just did the review, didn't I? I need to do it. I need to encapsulate a little bit better than that. It's got that director, which I'm not some giant film buff, though I kind of am. I do my research. The director, Nicholas Windig Refn, is that how you pronounce it? He also wrote it, is a smart cookie. The cinematography is out of this world. The casting is out of this world. But I did not like what happened when I got home last night. I did not like it at all, and I'll have to tell that story later as well. One of my dogs got into my son's fishing equipment. So it didn't go well after seeing that film. Yeah, I'll give you briefly my focused review of Only God Forgives. Marcos Morales totally got the film. Instantly at the end of it. I kind of got everybody's review. Other people got other things from it, but I have the proper interpretation of it. It's not, it's 100% clear. Very archetypal. I need to write some notes that make sure I cover every point. Then I've got a big admission to make, folks. I may actually have myself arrested for thought crime. You've heard of the Hitler teapot? We're not going to get to it yet, guys. You've heard of the Hitler teapot that had to be banned and destroyed. Ladies and gentlemen, I have committed a crime even worse. I saw a Hitler mustache in the sky today, and those clouds must be... No. Wait till I get to it. It's pretty funny. It illustrates political correctness. I'm going to tie it into the name of Jesus has become a dirty word in the politically correct America. So that is coming up, actually, at the start of the next segment. I'll do that briefly, and then get into all the other serious news here. But right now, let's go to Mike Martin. And he says he's the owner of the restaurant that's in our article at Infowars.com that Paul Watson found that was in the local news. Homeland Security is now regulating live entertainment. Indiana DHS demands restaurant owner get permit to play live music. I mean, you talk about thought police. So you say you're the owner of the restaurant, Mike?
Yes, sir, Alex.
Wow. So do they think there might be terrorists in the assault shaker?
You know, I think it's more of a control issue, and really the idea with the Department of Homeland Security attaching themselves to the state fire marshal, that really gives them jurisdiction in every business in that state, completely circumventing any due process. And that's really my biggest reason I'm challenging it. I don't understand why the Department of Homeland Security became part of the fire marshal's agency. I think we'd all agree the fire marshal is a very legitimate agency that has a duty to protect the service, but I don't see that with the Department of Homeland Security.
Well, they want the funding, and Homeland Security is to replace the old republic. Homeland Security on record is there. They've always said to absorb America. It is the alien invasion. It is the foreign usurper. It is the Normans invading England. Go ahead.
I agree with you completely, and I've caught a little criticism about the article saying that, that I've blown it out of proportion, and I've tried to explain very clearly on my blog that it's not blown out of proportion, that if you look at the actuality of what this law does, you cannot play live music. And right now, my case is in the state of Indiana, through the state fire marshal's office and the Indiana Department of Homeland Security, but you cannot play live music in the state of Indiana without paying the Department of Homeland Security. The criticism I got was that only applies to commercial public buildings, and I've tried hard to reiterate that every place in the public is a commercial public building. Everywhere that's not a home is a commercial public building.
No, it is undoubtedly a naked power grab. Sir, they have National Guard now all over Austin running checkpoints and DHS randomly. We always get there. It's on the local news, but then they're gone by the time I get there. They're now on highways. And you'll have Army with DHS, with TSA. Now in San Antonio, they'll have Air Force MPs at the mall with TSA and drug dogs. I mean, it is third world takeover. You need to have your state challenge this. I mean, what are the feds doing embedded with the fire department?
Criticism I get is that this is the Indiana Department of Homeland Security, not the federal. And my question to that would be, and maybe you could help me here, where did the Indiana Department of Homeland Security come from, if not from the federal
No. It's federally funded. All of them are on record. No, this is the state traders. And because they take our money, send it back, and then federalize. It's like cops are like, yeah, we got some free federal money. Yeah, it came from your state. It came from Detroit. All right, sir, very interesting. Ever in Indiana, I'll have to visit your place. Thanks for getting on the show. What a small world. More ring-a-dingy straight ahead. By the way, all over the world, they announced porn censorship in China, in Australia, in New Zealand, in the Middle East, now in England, and now in the U.S. Cybersecurity being set up everywhere is to kill the web, surveil, and get economic data to game the free market on record. Face scanning cameras by companies to find out if you're wealthy or middle class, so they can then digitally change the prices. That's why they're taking the price tags off everything. not letting you into events if you are part of the Young Conservatives. You can't go see Obama at your university because they've already got a database on you and your name, and they're face scanning you as you walk through. I mean, this is the technocracy. In Seattle, 14 years ago at the WTO, they would dig through your bag, the entire downtown, and they found an anti-WTO sticker or a pin. You couldn't go in. We played that clip yesterday with Norm Stamper, the police chief, who apologized for it. That was under basically federal orders. He said it was terrible and totally un-American. Well, what about now? They face scan you, and it goes on and on and on and on. This is the reality. Let's go back to your phone calls, and then I'm going to get into political correctness on PCP in the next segment, and the attacks on the word Jesus and God, and then tie it into banning teapots and dogs that look like Hitler and everything else. While our real rights are all being taken, there's all these imaginary things or smaller things to obsess over. D in Texas, well, see, I said I was going to your calls, but I just forgot to mention this. Infowars.com. UK porn filter will blacklist non-porn websites. Yesterday, Watson wrote about this and said, well, let's see what Cameron releases. And now they've put out what the government wants to do. And lo and behold, what the government says is disinfo, conspiracy theories. If you say there might be corruption in government, everybody knows that's not true. Everybody knows Kim Jong-un loves you and makes the birds tweet, and so does Obama, our dear leader. And now it's being announced also on Infowars.com. UK web censorship will be run by the communist Chinese. BBC admits it. I mean, Russian troops are preparing to take on Americans in civil unrest. NLE09, FEMA.gov. Russian troops train for crowd control in Colorado Springs. Denver Post. I mean, cuckoo, cuckoo. I'm not the cuckoo when reporting on it. This is cuckoo tyranny. I mean, how much more naked does this have to get? And see, they're just lining it up and acclimating. Look, there's troops at the mall searching you. There's TSA searching you. It's for your safety. Just get used to it. Get used to being put up against the wall and ask questions. That's what you do in North Korea. I mean, America. Well, then what was wrong with Nazi Germany? I mean, that's what they did. I think there was things wrong with it, but that's because I'm a bigot, folks. I'm a right-wing extremist racist. I think Obama bombing people all over the world, putting al-Qaeda in charge to exterminate Christians all over Africa and the Middle East is part of a globalist takeover plan. And I think it's illegal and horrible because I'm a racist. Let's go to D in Texas. You are on the air.
Hey, man. I'm a first-time caller, a long-time listener. How you doing?
I'm actually seething with humanity, and I'm so awake and so alive, I just can't stand it right now.
Well, here, I wanted to get your take on this. Check this out. I was just reading on the Drudge Report that Lord Obama was down in Vietnam. He's talking to their president, and he said that Ho Chi Minh was actually inspired by Thomas Jefferson and the U.S. Constitution, and that what he did down there in Vietnam was a good thing. And, you know, like...
Yeah, I forgot to cover that. Will you guys pull that up, Obama in Vietnam? That's a pretty big deal, and in a sick way, it's true. Ho Chi Minh did admire Thomas Jefferson and was going to try to bring in more of a socialist construct of it. And the China area, the French that were leaving in the late 50s wanted to keep control of the opium. So the real fight was over the schmack. So now he has come out today with praise for Ho Chi Minh. Absolutely amazing, because Ho Chi Minh did horrible things once he went full commie and got the backing of the USSR, and then the U.S. would pay with aid. This was in Congress and hearings for the 10-plus years for trucks and missiles and weapons to then go and fight us. The Russians, they wouldn't let the port be bombed. They let the Russian ships come in with the weapons because it was a full-spectrum dominance operation that was developed by Robert McNamara in the mid and later war, where you fund al-Qaeda and then have a war with them just to make money off the war, or where you grow the opium, ship it in, and put people in jail for it, or where you put the communists in charge, you give them the weapons. And Ho Chi Minh was actually aided in the fight against the Japanese in World War II. And our government in 49 put Mao in to China, and they helped put Ho Chi Minh into power or keep him in power. But then the Southern allies promised to pay more schmack money to the Western banks. And so there was a fight with the socialist over how much opium they would send to the American pigs, as we were called. And so it's all just a big sick gangsterism. So Obama shows as CIA trained, he knows the history, that Ho Chi Minh actually did quote Thomas Jefferson and was like a weird libertarian / anarchic socialist. You go, well, none of that makes sense. I know it doesn't. But he was put in power, basically, in World War II by the OSS and by French intelligence. And then later, again, it was all a fight over the opium. Kind of like Muhammad Karzai's put in power to run the opium, but then he doesn't, like some of the things that are going on, so then they try to kill him. So he comes out and admits that, okay, the CIA runs Al-Qaeda, it's all staged, and they're trying to kill me, and it's all admitted, too. So, but does that answer your question?
Yeah, I just have one more comment, though. It just seems like utter ridiculousness that, 50 years ago, that would have been political crucifixion for someone to, give major props to a communist leader. Nowadays, most people will probably think Ho Chi Minh is some sort of fried rice dish.
Well, no, I mean, the average American who isn't aware does not know what planet they're on. You're like, hey, you're on a planet, deep space is right out there. Isn't that incredible? And they're like, no, it's meaningless. More MSG, more trendy. I just want to act like I'm arrogant because I'm really insecure. I'm real stupid, too. I don't care. I don't want... No, that's the average person out there. The average go, what is that, a new dish at P.F. Chang's? That's exactly that's exactly the essence of what we're dealing with. And they hear me knowing about the history of Ho Chi Minh, and that's like, oh, what are you, some kind of weirdo? That guy's a conspiracy theorist. He said he read a book once. like books even exist. I say these are Jolly Ranchers in my nose I eat. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I said, just keep up the good work, man. That's all I wanted to say.
God bless you, brother. Yeah, no, I mean, it's all just staged. It's multinational corporations that fund both sides with our money to have a war so they make money. I mean, that's not really hard to figure out. I mean, it's just, let's go ahead and talk to Joseph in Texas. You're on the air, Joseph.
Hey, Alex. How's it going?
I'm doing all right, brother.
Cool. Hey, I'm calling about the Occupy leadership, and the reason I'm calling is I was an organizer in Occupy San Antonio and was subject to this surveillance.
Well, no, they had snipers on you, on record, declassified, and if Obama gave the order, all the leadership was to be killed. And they're now public. Oh, yeah, we have death squads. We'll kill you for no reason if we want to.
Let me tell you about this. I have a little background. I'm a veteran. I spent 2 years in Iraq. I did training as a peace officer, and I worked in the federal detention system for a little while. So, I know a surveillance van when I see one. And about halfway through the protest, I went home, and I noticed there's a group of 3 vans sitting down the street from my house. 2 of them have antennas all over them, and the third's a prisoner transport van. They have company decals, civilian license plates. And then, we always have people come into our camp saying, hey, who's the leaders? Who's the leaders? And we have other friends that also... Yeah,
and they use a group they see as unpopular, actually run by the White House. Not that you were. They put it out as a projection. Then when they couldn't control it and turn it into a political movement they controlled, when it turned against them, then if it got out of control peacefully, they were going to kill you. So how does it feel?
To know that I'm on a purge list? Not very good.
Well, see, they're now announcing this to scare everybody, though. It doesn't scare me. It lets me know they're a bunch of crooks.
Well, they are a bunch of crooks. And, I ran into your show there, and I've been listening ever since. And, you're saying a lot of truth out there. And this really did happen. And you're the first person I've ever seen cover this. And all of us...
Brother, I've had special forces jump out of the woods when I'm just trying to cover something in Florida on public property legally and start fires. I've been poisoned. I never really talk about that before. But, I mean, just you name it. Man, this is not a game. I've had them send sex operatives. I mean, I've lived like a real James Bond life. Half of it I don't tell people because it's so insane sounding. Believe me, I know. I've had cops repeatedly aiming sniper rifles at me and trying to intimidate me. This country, and look, cops, do you really want to live in a country where you can do stuff like that? I mean, you have no future. Do you have more you want to add, sir?
No, I just wanted to let you know that you're 100% spot on with that. I'm just shocked to see someone actually cover it. I know some other organizers who would like to talk about it. If you want to speak to them, they were subject to the same surveillance and intimidation as well.
You know what I do when I get surveilled? I surveil them. And I mean, it's just getting to the point where, you know what? There's two-way streets in this world, you know? We'll be right back. All right, folks, I'm your host, Alex Jones. We're back live. Thank you for joining us. Let me, right now, before I go back to calls and other news, get into an article up at Infowars.com by Michael Snyder. The name of Jesus has become a dirty word in politically correct America. It's worse than that when you actually read the 16 examples he gives recently of saying a valedictorian can't thank God, or you can't in a school poem to say the word Jesus. Folks, that's your free speech. The state can't get involved in religion. You can do it. They're always taking Bibles away and expelling people at school, but you can bring a Harry Potter book, and people are like, it's wrong, the law says that. There is no law. They just claim you're violating something made up. It's all color of law. Look at this. An elementary school in North Carolina ordered a little 6-year-old girl to remove the word God from a poem that she wrote to honor her 2 grandparents who'd served in the Vietnam War. The Ohio State House banned Christian pastors from using the name Jesus when they speak. The use of the name Jesus was forbidden in all prayers opening sessions of the North Carolina State House. Last year, a federal appeals court ruled that prayers before commission meetings in Forsyth County, North Carolina that include the name of Jesus were unconstitutional. Earlier this year, a Florida Atlantic University student refused to stomp on the name of Jesus in sensitivity training, was banned from class. Oh, yeah, that's what goes on. A student at Sonoma State University was ordered to take off a cross that she was wearing because someone could be offended. You have a pentagram all day. A teacher in New Jersey was fired for giving his own Bible to a student that did not own one. And it goes on and on. I'm going to stop right there, folks. Meanwhile, as Dr. Paul Craig Roberts said earlier, while they've got all these fake rights issues that they're throwing back and forth, they're taking our right to privacy, our right to not be arrested under NDAA and disappeared and killed. All these basic, our right to not be on purge list. It comes out, they're planning to kill peaceful political people. If Obama gives the order in a open coup d'etat, Nazi-like purge, the right wing won't criticize Obama for it because they're controlled. None of the left will. They love it. This is authoritarianism, calling itself liberal, calling itself conservative. And then you see J.C. Penney with a good-looking teapot a few months ago. It looks, it's like looking at a cloud and saying, I see Hitler. It's got a handle where it's supposed to be. It's got a top, a round top. It's silver. Let's start rolling some of this footage for people that are watching on PrisonPlanet.tv. Here is the evil. Here is the evil teapot. We're going to show the teapot first. Yes, there's the teapot that they say is so horrible and that is so evil. And then going back to the piece that I put together with Rob Dew, there is the evil teapot, and then there is my French bulldog. Now, I could have probably seen Hitler in a pile of dirt outside my house, but instead I started looking at Captain, our French bulldog, and I got to admit it, I'm like a closet Nazi because I kiss him right on his Hitler mustache. That dog gets kisses from me, okay? And from my children. They're sitting supporting Hitler. And look at him. I mean, he even looks like Hitler. His eyes kind of look like Hitler. He's got no fur on his lip, and so it looks like a Hitler mustache. That dog, J.C. Penney's banned those teapots and had them destroyed. So I'm taking Captain today into the pound, and I'm going to have him put him in a gas chamber and kill him like they do stray dogs. And I'm sad, but I'm going to prove that I'm not racist, and I'm going to sacrifice him on the altar of political correctness to prove I'm not racist and to satisfy Al Sharpton. So, Captain, should I give him lethal injection or give him the pressure chamber? I mean, I don't want him to feel any pain. I love the dog. But, I mean, he does look like Hitler. And I realized I want to apologize. Maybe I should be gassed because I just realized my wife and I chose a dog when he was a puppy that had a Hitler mustache because of a subconscious racism. Can we put the racism back up on air, only to illustrate it and to apologize? Ladies and gentlemen, I want to apologize. Can we show my racist dog before we added the Iron Cross and the helmet? the Kaiser helmet, the World War I Field Marshal helmet. I mean, look at him, folks. That I'm so ashamed that my dog is Hitler. In fact, it may be a genetic experiment. He may actually be Adolf Alois Hitler. Perhaps he escaped to America and is hiding out, not Argentina. No, they were all hiding at the CIA, as a French bulldog. Ladies and gentlemen, even the dog tag around his neck is of a bone. The Nazi skull and crossbones had a skull above a bone. Oh my gosh, he is wearing a Nazi necklace! Folks, this is just as bad as the teapot. Look at that little bronze bell. That's a death's head too. Well, thank God JCPenney banned that, and you know what? I'm going to call the ADL and Southern Poverty Law Center and ask their advice. Should I euthanize Captain? Folks, I'm joking. I'm not serious. I'm illustrating absurdity by being absurd. I love Captain, and I love him a lot. He does get kisses. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back live here, and I promised to premiere some clips from the Paul Revere contest that we're going to be giving you the winners on Monday, Tuesday, and then first place on Wednesday. And so we've got some of that coming up. But just getting back to political correctness again, this is authoritarianism. This is not liberalism or caring about anybody. You need to understand that. You know, when Obama puts al-Qaeda in charge to kill 40,000 black people in Libya, it's in the back of the newspaper and people say, good. Or when the UN goes in and kills whole villages in Africa or Latin America to create a carbon sink and take their villages, it's in the news, but they go, well, it's for the earth. You know, I mean, you have to understand, they manipulate your heartstrings. And so I had an idea. I said, I bet if, making a joke about the JCPenney teapot, which obviously looks nothing like Hitler and wasn't meant to be Hitler. I mean, it is insane that my French bulldog looks like he has a Hitler mustache because he doesn't have any fur on his upper lip. He's got black skin. He's got black spots on him. There's a black spot right there. That are there other racist animals that need to be taken to be gotten rid of, like the teapots? And we did find some. If you type in Hitler animals or Hitler dog, we found a baby English bulldog, very racist, Heiling Hitler. Not only does its nose look like a Hitler mustache, look at the hate in the eyes. The dog has been trained to raise its arm. And, I mean, look, alert Al Sharpton immediately. And there's cats. Look at that cat right there. It's got a little bit of black on its nose. It's got black on its head that makes it look like Hitler. Adolf Hitler. Look at, I've seen boxers, too, out that look a little bit like Hitler. And I'm going to walk over. And I'm going to say, hey, you need to be sent for re-education because we all know that you are basically in league with Hitler. And I can sit here and joke about this, folks. It tears my heart out to know how conscious this authoritarianism is and how they get us all obsessed with imaginary stuff, while meanwhile we're all losing our Bill of Rights and Constitution, our basic freedom. And we're getting some clips lined up of some of the forerunners. You can see them all at Infowars.com/Revere. You can also just go to Infowars.com/Paul Revere. But right now, let's go back to your phone calls. Let's talk to Nick in Wisconsin. Nick, you're on the air. Welcome.
Alex.
Hey, buddy.
What's up, man? Long-time listener, first-time caller. Hey, I just finished at Fort McCoy in Wisconsin up here. I was a combatant. And the way the National Guard is treating it is they're sitting there. I'm nervous now. He ain't saying anything.
Go ahead, sir. Tell us your story.
Well, I started this company and worked up there and started shooting AKs off, and they're sitting there shooting back at us, but it just seems like, the National Guard just doesn't have any respect.
Yeah, I can't understand you. I really want to apologize. Are you drinking Robitussin?
No, I'm not off lean.
How much have you been drinking, sir?
Not much.
What are you drinking? Old Crow? Jack Daniels? Vodka?
Nothing. I just been waiting on so long.
I'm just teasing you. I know you're nervous. I'm teasing. I apologize, sir. I'm being bad. You say you've been in a firefight with the National Guard? That's what it sounded like.
Yeah, I was an enemy combatant.
Oh, I apologize. You were hired to be part of a drill, playing the part of a U.S. citizen in a role-playing battle with the National Guard.
Yes, sir.
See, now I can tell I kind of caught you. We've been sitting there on hold. I apologize. Now you're very coherent, sir. And yes, so tell us about what happened.
Oh, well, they had us in the field, and they had us in fatigues, BDUs, and they said just wait for the convoys and everything to come by. And a couple of times I didn't want to follow orders, but they were like, no, stand down. And, it's kind of bullshit. Sorry, I'm
All right. Well. Next time you're part of something like that, you need to take photos of it and expose them. You can go to the Army websites and see that. I appreciate your call, Nick. Let's talk to Janita in Oregon. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Hi, it's Jacinta.
Jacinta, great. I'm sorry, I can't read today. Believe me, it's
okay.
It's descending into Twilight Zone.
Everybody messes that name up. I didn't expect it to be correct. Good afternoon. I have listened to you for a while now, usually for YouTube. And believe it or not, I have a counter-argument for the UK filter. Because what basically led me to this big awakening was pretty much I was anti-pornography for a long time. And I just could not figure out why it is so rampant and damaging and nobody's doing anything about it. Now, one thing led to another, and believe it or not, it led me to you because everything's suddenly tied together. I went from the anti-pornography to basically reading, do you know Yuri Bezmenov's books? He went under the pseudonym Thomas Schumann. He was a defector from Russia, Soviet Union. Are you there?
Yeah, what happened is I was going to be premiering videos right now, but I'm the only one that had the list that had the time code on it. So I'm trying to queue up videos while you talk. I don't normally ignore the listeners, but I'm doing show prep here on air. Go ahead. Keep going.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. To say that you're blacklisted for opting in to basically go and do a, say I want the filter turned off, I find that silly because for a while I've wanted something like this. Germany has something like that where you have to go to a post office and say, I want to go ahead and be able to look at the adult content. And how this saves kids is, on the iPhones and whatnot, they can have access to it any time. And you can make the argument parents need to be more on top of their kids. No, I don't believe that. We have stores where you have to be 18 or older and able to even walk in. But the Internet has taken away that step. It's sex on tap. And tell me this, why is the pornography market targeting boys from 11 to 17? That's underage. Well,
they're trying to sexualize children. Nickelodeon and Viacom admit that. They have PBS documentaries about it because they find it effective marketing to bind you to the brand, and they want to wreck society. It's a psychological warfare weapon. And major governments run all the major vices, and Zbigniew Brzezinski's written multiple books admitting this. Their argument is, well, we control it then so it doesn't get out of hand. It's the ultimate thing of, we control it. It's like in The Godfather where we're going to deal with the drugs, but we're going to control it. That is so accurate to how they sell the idea of we're just going to give it to the colored people, to quote The Godfather, they're animals anyways, let them lose their souls. So, but now, see, it's everybody. It's because we're all animals to the New World Order. They're gods, when really they're the animals, or lower than the animals. So, yeah, look, they flood everything with porn, illegal porn, all of it, and then just use it like they flood the country with drugs to frame whoever they want. And then to create a new witch hunt where they're the savior. They create the Al-Qaeda, they create the communists, they create the Nazis, they fight it. They ship the drugs in, they fight it. They put fluoride in the water, destroy education, and then say they're taking over with even more education to fight it. So, yes, great question, ma'am. Let's go ahead and talk to Anna. Anna, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hi, Alex. Thank you so much. A couple of things that are going on right now in Florida that you might not be aware of. The DEA is putting a lot of us physicians and pharmacists in jail. They've closed down these quote-unquote pain clinics, which aren't a good idea, but they've left a lot of these people who are in pain without medication, and now they're committing suicide. So a lot of the doctors who are working in these clinics are now being put in prison, and a lot of them were good doctors. They were doing nothing wrong. I don't know if you're aware of that.
Yes, I am aware of all this, and they are now criminalizing everything. If they say they're coming to your house because of drugs, we don't need a warrant, and a SWAT team comes. No law says it. They'll grab even $500 out of somebody's, even an old lady, and say, well, it may be drugs. And then the sheriff or the judge, I've seen them on the news go, CNN, I'll do whatever I want. We tested the bills, and one of them had a residue. Well, they know almost all money, if it's old, been in circulation, has drug residue on it. Because it's being moved by drug dealers, by banks that are the drug dealers, and by people that use it to snort drugs. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And so they're all, you see the shows on everywhere about, yes, we run checkpoints, take your cash. I mean, it's just we give people inoculations, we do what we want. I mean, it's like Rick Perry saying it's the law to take Gardasil when there's no law. They just run frauds on the helpless, gullible, childlike public. We have a brain-damaged, childlike, poisoned, drunk on poison, gibbering public, brainwashed from birth by the television, who literally think freedom is 101 million people on food assistance, who think uniformed police in black uniforms at checkpoints everywhere and helicopters looking through our walls is freedom. And so, yeah, I mean, the DEA, every agency's growing like cancer, and they're taking over, and they're hiring people that want to run our lives, and we've seen this before, and we're in deep trouble. Let me play some of these clips from some of these films here. This is a 19-minute film or so up on the Paul Revere site at Infowars.com/Revere. But I'm just going to play a minute of it. The film is about Pol Pot's democide. First they took the military, then the journalists, and anyone with an education, even those that wore glasses. By the way, the U.S. government funded all this and ran it. Brzezinski wrote a book about that. He actually planned it all. They killed 30% of the population. Also talks about how the communists destroyed people's will, destroyed the family by murder and by isolation. And it's narrated by English speaker, then a Cambodian speaker, talks about how they destroy families. And so his accent makes it a little bit difficult to understand, so I'll narrate some of that. Let's go to a short clip from Drop of Water. Please see the whole thing at Infowars.com. Great job to the filmmakers. Here it is. And then we'll... the spirit of gremlins has entered the building again. We're going to do this on Sunday and do it right. We're going to have a big 3-hour meeting, powwows, everything else, and then we'll do this. Because it's weird, like once something messes up, it's like baling wire, man. Speaking of that, I said I'd tell this story, and I'll tell this story now. Okay? Speaking of that, so my wife's out of town, taking the children to a nearby city with my mother to look at museums. They do it every few months, go on a museum trip. So they're visiting museums in Texas. And so I'm home alone. I don't know why that adds the story. But it's already kind of a bummer. You come home, your family getting there. So I go, I'll go out to a movie with my dad last night. So we went out and saw, just to see what all the hype was about, the worst movie ever, as they're calling it. Not being contrarian, saying it has some good points, but also some bad points. Only God Forgives, with Gosling, and the amazing director has made some other very interesting films, amazing cinematography. But I get home at 10:30 at night with a movie that's got a lot of, graphic violence in it. And I walk in and I see a fishing pole in the living room going into my youngest daughter's bedroom. Fishing line. And so I go in there, and the Chihuahua, Bambi, 16 years old, love the dog, is pinned down to the carpet and has a deep-sea fishing lure that was in the garage. The garage was closed. I don't know. My son had it out or something, left it in his room. I don't know what happened. Deep-sea lure, pinning it to the ground, because it's one of those deep-sea lures about 4 inches long, and then it's got a big treble hook on the back, maybe we should Google and show the people this or start page it, a treble hook topwater bait. And it's got a treble hook, 3 hooks on the back with really bad barbs and 3 on the front. It's in her chest with it pinned to the floor with the other one pinned to her arm. And I worked for a small animal vet for a couple of years, worked for a large animal vet off and on for about a year in several stints. So I could tell she didn't even go to the vet, because a vet that wants a bunch of money out of you would do a big surgery, put her under at 16 years old. She's already got health problems, might not live. Barely survived a surgery a few years ago for some medical issues. And so, because I knew I'd have to talk to my wife about it, and why didn't take her to the vet and all this stuff. But the point is, so I'm sitting there, and I can either take her to the vet, and an old-fashioned vet's going to pull these out, and it's going to rip the skin. Or a modern vet's going to do surgery and slice it open, and 10 times worse for the dog. So I'm sitting there, and I turn the dog over with carpet attached to her, and it's hard to pull a treble hook out of a fish's mouth. You got to use pliers. But I'm so emotional, and I don't think to go get pliers. But I know how to work them out, so you pull up and out. But I was more exhausted after this last night than I've been in decades. And then this morning I was really exhausted psychically, psychologically, from the dog, which didn't resist me. It knew it wanted to be released. It took me like 10 minutes, because she had, from fighting it, all 3 hooks on each of them in her. From trying to get it out, more got in. So and it's hard when there's 3 in. I had to work 1 out and got so angry I was able to actually bend it up and out doing it. And then I had to get the others out. And the point is that I couldn't imagine, like, your child in a car wreck or something, talk about their kids pinned in and crying and hurt, what it would be like. Because I was like, love the dog and have empathy for it. And then I just wondered, I'm so drained today and really in a weird mental state from it. It's not even that traumatic, but it was my dog. I mean, I'd been there and helped other animals that were in trouble, and it's still stressful. But I thought about how stressful it is for doctors and vets who have empathy to be around suffering. And I thought, who are people that like suffering? And it just kind of made me think what the enemy's like. And then they manipulate those of us that have bleeding hearts for life. They manipulate us to give up our liberties and things in the name of doing sweet, nice things, and they're just messing with us. But then I thought, it is good. I wouldn't enjoy hurting somebody who was really evil, but I would enjoy stopping them. So I guess in a way, some bully starts a fight with you, they're beating you up, you get a good punch in, knock them out, they hit the concrete, and for a minute, as you watch blood pour out from the back of their head, you're like, yeah, and then you go, uh-oh, and the person's like, flopping around on the ground, and you realize, oh, I'm going to have to deal with this. But it's not like, oh, I'm glad I hurt him. It's glad you've had victory, but not glad you're just hurting someone, even somebody who's evil. It's so alien to me, like people sexually that are into pain and stuff. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. And I guess I'm a square. I'm a bad guy. I'm a Boy Scout. That's why I'm wearing a Boy Scout uniform today, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Before he died, Arthur C. Clarke, inventor of the telecommunications satellite, OSS operative, Fabian socialist, New World Order master planner, basically gave out the symbology of 2001 Space Odyssey, and you can go look up my reviews of that film going back more than 15 years. One of them is online. It's exactly what Arthur C. Clarke later said it was. And I mean, it's not hard. When you know all this symbology, archetypal, Joseph Campbell didn't invent all this. He kind of quantified it. You realize the subconscious programming that the social engineers are involved in. And I want you to be aware of the fire of the gods. Because they're not gods. They're humans like us trying to suppress us. I believe in an open, straight-up society. And only God Forgives first got really bad reviews. Now it's getting really good reviews in the last few days as people start to get what it's really about. I don't like just gratuitous, mindless, pointless violence. If it's based on a true story to illustrate something, it's got some scenes of torture in it. And it's about the two sides of good and evil, and at certain points, how close are they together? And the Ryan Gosling character is almost the bridge between his brother, Ryan Gosling, and his brother, who plays the devil. I mean, that's all it is. I'm going to talk to the devil's the tagline for the film, and it is very easy to understand what the whole thing is about. And it just shows how unconscious the population is, that they still don't know what the movie is about. But it is it has 2001 Space Odyssey type stuff. It's got him going through the interdimensional gate or the womb, and it's got him being reincarnated, and it's got the police captain and the Ryan Gosling character have a psychic connection, and it's totally clear what's going on in the film. And I just, again, I'm not up here going, hey, I know what the film's really all about. Ha, you don't. I don't know how people can't go see the movie and see what it's about. Now, at one level, it is an Asian exploitation film about, yeah, the Asians beat up the white guys and kill the white guys, and they're in charge, and they're slick, and they're cool. But it's not even really aimed at an Asian market. It's meant to look like an Asian film. It's very sophisticated. Okay, I'll probably go see it again because it's definitely, I want to get that director on and ask that guy. I'm sure he's really smart, European fellow, Nicholas Winding Refn. I'm gonna go see his other movies now. I want to get him on and say, you came up with this on your own? Because it's one thing to even know this stuff, another thing to actually put it into form. And I'm still trying to analyze what the motive is in this. I don't think there is a motive. I think it is super deep art, over-the-top avant-garde, and it's really a statement about all the senseless violence in the culture. There are movies out that take Sylvester Stallone and his latest movies, The Expendables, that are probably 50 times more violent and more graphic. But this is done in a very archetypal, slow way, the violence that's in it. It actually has a lot less violence in it than a John Wayne movie, but it's done humanizing people. Very sophisticated art. Stanley Kubrick would have had trouble pulling something like this off. People go see, Full Metal Jacket and go, they don't say, oh, the violence, it's horrible, or whatever. It's because it's meant to get to you. It's kind of like when I got mad on Piers Morgan. People are like, oh, it was a terrible performance, but later, it's the biggest thing ever. It's a delayed reaction. It's meant to get you out of your comfort zone, to break your trance. This film is very horrible, but also very good. It's meant to be horrible. Meant to be horrible. I'm doing Overdrive. It's Friday. Should I do like an hour of Overdrive? Maybe 30 minutes? I don't know, because I want to get to Andy and Ziggy and Bubba and Jersey Pete and all these videos the guys got, the crew got, that I tell them, get these videos, get these videos. I run here 30 minutes for the show and like worry them like a coonhound or something. Chasing them around, and then I don't ever get to it. It's just completely out of control. But we're doing the best we can. And look, here's the deal. My crew has done a monumental job just watching and going over and trying to get ready. 35 videos I want to play excerpts of on air. And I'm going to have to do it Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. We'll have to make that. And we'll have to have meetings about it and have it all ready because, we throw a bunch of videos in there and then we kind of have a meeting about it, and we wait 3 hours, and I go, now go to it, and whatever. We're going to really give credit where credit's due to the Paul Revere entrance. And the top 35, but the top 300 or so are posted in the front page, top 35, at Infowars.com/Paul. You can comment there. And most people are really positive about not being in the top 35. Some people are real mad. They thought their ship had come in. Your ship came in making a film. Your ship came in taking action against the globalists. Your ship came in living. Contributing. That was the whole point of this. It isn't about the $115,000. It's about you guys all trying to make films, even if your film's not that good. The first stuff I did is I'd turn on a light in the control room because it took back then 6 months of classes to get on access because you had to take like 3 classes and they only gave them every 2 months. And they gave them right around the same time. And I was working full time, so I'd have to go in, take classes, volunteer on other shows where I could get on. And then, just be a guest for 1 minute on somebody's show in 1995. And then when I finally, after 6 months, got my license, You know, I didn't know to go ask people to help me or whatever. Went in the control room, brought a camera in. I'd turn on the light real bright, the exposure all wrong, and go, I think it's wrong they want to take our guns. In third world countries, they've done that to enslave them. Listen, the government's getting guns, and locally they're taking old people's property for this SOS plan. It has nothing to do with the water recharge zone, and they're giving it to, and by the way, we should go do such and such. I mean, it was just purely resisting. And you'd see it. Out of 600-plus entries, I would say my first shows, production-wise, are worse than everything you did. I mean, I would be number 655, okay? I mean, the worst, bottom of the barrel. And some days I'm still the worst, bottom of the barrel. But you know what? I'm real, folks, and you know it, don't you? And what I like is real. I wasn't smiling on a power trip. I was thinking about real people and just how much I love them. Because I'm a love machine, ladies and gentlemen. And I work for you, and you work for me. We're in this together. And this is a fun adventure on a planetoid in deep space with crazy government and a bunch of weirdos that love to torture us and stuff running things. And this is the great animating contest of liberty. This is what makes good people stand and flourish and shine, is the challenge of evil. And I can see God's plan. Though from a primitive troglodyte perspective, I can see God's plan, just the edge of it, and I can imagine, and then I can begin to imagine the things the ear has not heard, the eye has not seen, that God has in store for us. And I'm just, you know what, if they kill me, beam me up, Scotty. You can be an atheist all you want, ladies and gentlemen. I know that I go on, and I choose to go with good. You can choose to be petty and evil and into yourself and everything. You're going to be with that energy forever. And that's hell. That's hell. God just puts you in with your own people because you've chosen it. See, it's like oil and water. I got to tell you, Hollywood knows that more and more positive stuff is what's selling. So you see movies like Up and Superman, Man of Steel, and more wholesome narratives. But the establishment allows it because it's only in fiction, so it almost gives you like the idea in your mind of a respite from the tyranny. And that's why they allow that. We need to have real respite in our own lives and build good stories in our own lives and do good things. Not just because we're goody two-shoes, but because it's fulfilling. And that's what really blocks the New World Order. So I salute my crew, the sponsors, the listeners, everybody that makes the transmission possible. I'm going to go to your phone calls. That's why we're in overdrive. But some clips I promised to get to. The first one I want to play is a marijuana is the new beer ad that's showing at NASCAR events to the hundreds of thousands that attend on the Jumbotrons. And I want to be clear. I don't think marijuana overall is totally positive. I know it has a lot of medical attributes. I know the feds hate it because they can't control it. It can be grown anywhere. They banned hemp that doesn't even have THC, that makes better cotton and better stuff than polyester. The chemical groups and cotton groups were lobbied against it. I get all that. But there's also this pro-weed culture where the marijuana now, I mean, is like super strong, a lot of it. And it does turn a lot of people that would just be medium achievers into zombies, into welfare zombies, smoking dope and watching TV all day and walking around so stoned they look like they've had a lobotomy. So let's just get it straight. I want it decriminalized because I'm tired of it funding the police state takeover. The British brought down China by getting China to make drugs illegal so they could ship them in and make profits and take over. I don't like the globalists and the banks doing this so they can launder the money. That's why I'm for total, pretty much legalization. I think it should be controlled, though, because it'll just go right back into a black market they can control. It's going to be a big fight, but you know, this ad says less harmful than alcohol, way less harmful on average. Now they're starting to engineer marijuana and breed it to be stronger and stronger, and I think therein lies the issue, and it'll also give marijuana a bad name. I mean, it's 1,000,000 times better than Prozac if you're upset, the studies show. It's better for depression, people with cancer, all sorts of stuff, helping them hold down food. I mean, it has a lot of miraculous traits to it, and if people want to go home after a long day and not abuse marijuana and you know, take a couple of tokes off a joint. George Washington did that. They called it toothache or stomachache hemp. You know, because only a few varieties actually have the THC and high levels in it. So George Washington smoked pot out of when he had toothaches. I mean, you know, a long day for the president. Let me have some of that. Let me have some of that stomachache or some of that toothache weed. I mean, every culture in most areas of the world has smoked marijuana, and it was the medicine men. It's just a drug, folks. It's a drug that's a lot better than the pharmaceutical stuff. So that's where I stand on marijuana. I mean, I, as an experiment throughout my life, have smoked marijuana off and on. I didn't like it when I was younger because I didn't know what the stuff my friends had was like cheap, what they call like Mexican brown weed, and it makes you want to just, lay there on the couch, feel like you've been run over by a truck. And just, that's not what I'm into. I've smoked designer marijuana before that made me feel like I could write classical music. So I'm going to just tell you right now, folks, it's a heavy-duty thing, the different varieties they've got. Now, the stuff rich people are smoking in Los Angeles is really amazing. The issue is, though, they start doing it more and more, and I see it take over their lives as well. So I'm not smoking it. Everybody that's into it, it takes over their life. So I want to be clear about it to young people out there. And young people aren't going to listen to a message. If you smoke marijuana, you'll kill your parents, like Reefer Madness. They'll listen to me be honest about it. Yeah, I'm not going to say I tried marijuana but didn't inhale. I've inhaled plenty. I'm like, well, I like these cigarettes and chewing tobacco so much. And my dad's at work. I smoke his regular pipe with, tobacco. I love this. Give me some of that marijuana. I don't like it. But again, I've been old-fashioned marijuana. I don't like it. The new stuff is scary. And you can tell when somebody's a dope smoker, a heavy dope smoker. It really changes them. It builds up in the brain. It doesn't kill brain cells. It puts them into a arrested, relaxed formation. And I'll tell you this, I don't ever get any trouble out of pot smokers. And the government kind of likes that. So, see, that's why there's also the George Soros group wants to legalize it because, well, I'm going to shut up now. I've got to go to your calls. The whole point is that there's a lot of contending groups out there. And there's also big groups that know when this stuff gets legalized, they want to be in position to control it. And the last thing I want as it becomes legalized is to have the cigarette companies that are tied up with Big Pharma. You didn't know that? Look it up. The last thing I want is for them to go in and add chemicals. You know some cigarettes have over 300 chemicals in them? That's what's really deadly in them. Now the cigarettes have flame retardant in it that's totally carcinogenic. I mean, you'd be crazy to smoke. Folks, if you smoke cigarettes, stop now. Please stop now. People go, well, why is the government doing it? Because they lost that battle. Government used to say, smoke cigarettes. They knew hundreds of years ago what tobacco did when it's abused. Okay, now let's get to this right here. 97% of climate activists in the pay of big oil. Shock. London Telegraph. I already knew this, but James Dillingpole has written about it and links to the study. Yes, big oil wants to shut down its main competition. Who's that? Well, giving lip service to fake new energy so they can control the new energy movement and not let the real one come forward. See, that's control your enemy. Fund Al-Qaeda. Fund the communists. See, so then you can oppose them while controlling them. It's full spectrum dominance. It's the globalist mindset. It's like one of the first James Bond movies. They have, 3 fighting fish. And he opens the door and the 2 kill each other. Or one gets killed, the other gets injured. Then the big one comes in and knocks out the competition. That's how this works, folks. Get into full spectrum dominance awareness. It's elementary, my dear friend, once you do it. But, I mean, I just discovered this at the underwriting. 97%, and he goes through the links to it, of the climate change alarmist groups are funded, wait for it, by big oil. Oh, yeah. ExxonMobil, Dutch Rothschild, BP, Texaco, Chevron. Of course, because what is the main challenge to fuel, to oil? The main challenge is coal. And again, I get zero money from coal. My family gets no money from coal. Because they always say, you're making money for the oil companies. No, the oil companies want to shut down our power plants and make us energy starved. On average. I mean, the AP sued in 2000, got the documents where they said there's too much oil worldwide. Let's fund this peak oil idea. This is not an opinion. 10 oil companies met in 1995 and 96. 95 they first met. And the AP article shows that. Paul Watson's written about the AP article years after it came out, just pointing it out. I'm surprised it came out in AP. But, of course, it didn't get picked up anywhere. And then a year later they meet again and they go, the answer is buy up all the refineries, shut them off, and fund environmental groups to demand new ones not be built. and demand that no pipelines be built. That way we have artificial scarcity. And that's why you've gone since then from paying 65, 70, 85, 90 cents a gallon to paying $3.50 a gallon. And dollar devaluation. See, this is what real info's about. Then you don't have to be conned and ripped off anymore. And I mean, if I have one more communist authoritarian hippie, because this happens every few months, and Whole Foods are on the street go, I like your show, man, but I know you're fun about oil companies on global warming. I mean, I want to punch him in the nose, okay? Let me tell you what I do get. Well, I don't get any money from it, but I've got family gets a little bit of money from it. It's natural gas. I mean, on average, you get like $500 a month or something, you know, because those things don't even hardly pump any in East Texas. This cousin gets 600, this one gets 500, this one gets 400. I mean, you know, the whole point is that if they're able to shut down coal, and natural gas groups are lobbying to shut down coal too, then my family will start getting some money. I guess if I just thought of things like from a self-centered position, that I would then be, yes, shut down coal, shut down coal, shut down coal. Because we might get tens of thousands of dollars a month in my family if that happened. And don't worry, natural gas companies are lobbying. They're one of the biggest groups to shut down coal. These electric cars, most of their power, 50+% comes from coal. I mean, I love it. They say coal's the worst thing, and that's where it's not the worst thing. They're totally clean now, and they're shutting them down. They're shutting America down. It's why I'm obsessed on this. We're going to skip this network break, because this is such a big central deal. You know, if real Godzillas came out of the ocean and they wanted to take out our cities, they'd attack our power plants, folks. That's what Obama is, a giant kaiju. A giant, it's the name of a Japanese monster, or Godzilla. And I've already gone over that analogy with people, but I'm just watching this happen. And then here it is, the proof. I knew it was most of them. In fact, I never saw an enviro-Nazi group that wasn't funded by oil companies. And see the genius of that? You're like, Al-Qaeda's funded by the government. You're crazy. And then it's like, it's all admitted, though, if you just look. No, the anti-oil groups are funded by oil because it's fake opposition. And then it's admitted that people just can't compute that. Our government funded Hitler. Our government funded the communist. Because our government's not our government. It's the globalist. That's why they're in charge. That's why they're in control. They know what they're doing. So I've now gone from marijuana to that. But here's the clip that is going to be airing at NASCARs all over the country. Marijuana is the new beer. And it just shows that once people realize something's hypocrisy, it collapses. And this could happen on every other issue. Here it is.
If you're an adult who enjoys a good beer, there's a similar product you might want to know about. One without all the calories and serious health problems. Less toxic so it doesn't cause hangovers or overdose deaths, and it's not linked to violence or reckless behavior. Marijuana. Less harmful than alcohol, and time to treat it that way. For more information, visit marijuanaissafer.org.
Yeah, I mean, I would just run ads saying the 1997 congressional hearing with the CIA Solicitor General found that the vast majority of narcotics are shipped into the country by the government. And since then, since the drug war began in the 1980s, really started in the mid-70s, but heated up in the 80s, we've seen a more than tripling of the amount of drug use in the country. Alcohol prohibition didn't work, and this prohibition didn't work unless it's lining the bank accounts of giant banks. Bloomberg reported that Wachovia and Wells Fargo alone laundered $378 billion in a 2-year period. Now you know why they're lobbying to keep drugs illegal, because they're the drug dealers. There's your 60-second ad. Don't you guys think that that's the ad we should have? Of course, the people at NASCAR will be like, what? They're talking bad about banks? It's a commie ad. So you've got to tailor it that way. Okay, my dear commies. Let's go ahead and talk to Andy in Utah, site of the giant NSA command base.
Hey there, Alex. How you doing?
Good.
I'm seeing the Hitler mustache out here, too. I must be up there, then.
Oh, you're seeing it in the clouds? You're a racist?
Yeah, I must be, too.
Well, yeah, I mean, my dog looks like he has a Hitler mustache. The dog needs to be banned, like that teapot.
You know, it's interesting. I hadn't planned to say this, but I've got a dear friend who's black. He's not very literate out here, and he doesn't listen to InfoWars, and he's retired. But, boy, he sure has been buying into this Tea Party is racist stuff. I had to have a sit down with him the other day, but, yeah, they're certainly doing their best Madison Avenue, job.
That's it. That's right. They're Madison Avenuing that guns and freedom are racist. Because once they teach you all the whites are racist, and then what are they promoting? They're promoting freedom. Oh, my goodness. Well, you saw that JCPenney teapot. I mean, that was racist, too. And if you don't support the health care bill, you're a racist. You didn't know that, Andy?
Alex, I love your sarcasm. I think the best part of it is when you do one of your voice imitations while you do it. Otherwise, dum-dums think you might be speaking while you're on your mind.
No, you're right. You're right. I mean, the absurdity of all of this. I mean, I don't need to take acid. I mean, this is like living in this modern culture is like hallucinating. I mean, it is just freaky. And then again, those of us that know it's crazy, we become the weirdos. God bless you. Good to hear from you, Andy. And I've used this analogy 5,000 times. I'll do it again. If I teleported back 1,000 years ago to central Mexico in Chalupa, outside Mexico City, and I said, do not sacrifice your children to Quetzalcoatl or to Chocmul. The sun is really a ball of fire. It will come back in the morning. We're in deep space, 2/3 of the way out on the spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy. The atmosphere is thinner than the skin on a apple. I come from the future. They would say, sacrifice him. And I know they would, because albinos or white people, whenever they had albinos, they got tortured royally for a long period of time, because that was special for the gods, anything special. So it'd be off with this cracker's hind end immediately, just because it was so wonderful and so alien, so special. And if I teleported back 3,000 years ago to one of the stone circles where they were sacrificing people, and I said, you're feeling energy because there's a magnetic line blasting out of the earth here, and you have cells in your brain used for navigation like birds and fish, that's now been proven, that are picking up on this. The normal electromagnetic field of the earth that you're in tune with is about 10 times stronger here. They would say, Akchanga Hinga, or I guess they'd actually speak kind of a Germanic, Celtic dialect of Unga, Sunga, Bunga, and, Rafgar, Hegausengagen, Gugenschigelmager, Hanjaga Bunga, Chingtal, whatever, and drag me on. I mean, I don't know, trying to make up some ancient dialect. Das ist in Brennsachen, Kuchenbagge, Feuer, Halsing through, Kilgastein, Hunstein, Gal, Pestein, Null, Kolekstein, Girdle, Tangsil, Kassel, Murst. Is that pretty good? It's German speaking in tongues now? All right. I had to get in the mode and think of the dialect sound. My wife has a full degree in French, and let me tell you, she gets, if I want to push her buttons, I just go, j'attends les guides petit temps, je le mon les colors, mimi pouple, I mean, it's just it's over. Nails on a chalkboard. Have you heard my Italian? Italian is so beautiful, I can't do it. I mean, I heard my wife the other day talking to one of her old Italian friends, and I was just sitting there for 5 minutes on the bed while she's on the phone with one of her friends speaking in Italian. It's just so beautiful, man. Anyways, enough. Yeah, it is the best, especially when a woman's speaking it. Let's go to Jersey Pete. Have you seen any clouds look like Hitler? We need to ban them. Go ahead.
Sorry, you broke up just there, Alex.
Have you seen any clouds that look like Hitler?
Today, no, I haven't. Actually, the chemtrails are obscuring most of the clouds today.
How'd you like my ancient Germanic language I just invented?
It was pretty good. Being of Hungarian ancestry, I feel like I heard some Magyar tongue in there, but it was quite entertaining.
Yeah, I was trying to get a Stone Age European sound there.
Yeah, no, that's
we all have the ancient data crystals in there that are just shadows of actually what went on. That we call that instincts. So go ahead.
Well, there you go. Hey, it really is a great joy to speak with you this afternoon, and. You often say that fortune favors the bold, and, I believe that's true. And there's another great phrase, and I don't know who the author is, but it goes, act boldly and unseen forces will come to your aid, which I think is a, wonderful.
Yeah, that's in that movie, almost famous. And then I forget who said that exactly. It was some philosopher. Look that up. Act boldly and mighty forces will come to your aid. Yeah.
So, I'd like to roll out, what I think is potentially, a huge game-changing, idea. And I'm calling it the Benjamin Franklin $1 Billion Challenge. And I'm inviting all free humans who hear my voice.
You mean terrorists?
Well, free
all
humans.
living humans that are not in the globalist bloodline are terrorists. That's the New World Order in essence.
Well, there you go, with the doublespeak. So we know that in actuality, they're liberty lovers. To join with me in standing with you, Alex.
Join me, and I will complete your training. We can destroy the Emperor.
That's
the
right.
ruling galaxy is father and son. Join me, and I will complete your training. You don't know the power of the dark side. I have to get into my mode to be able to do it, but how about a little bit of this? How about a little bit? We're in overdrive. I'm acting goofy. It's Friday. How about a Autobots transform and roll out? I'm sorry, sir. Go ahead.
No, that's quite all right. We need to remember our sense of humor when times are as crazy as they are right now. So I totally get it. But here's this idea.
Teeny Jedi. Sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. I know that you folks have a pretty good handle on a weekly basis, how many listeners, viewers, 10 to 15 million people. But here's the idea. Folks, I'm asking you to join with me in making a one-time only, no strings attached, $100 donation for the creation of a Liberty Defense Fund at
to me immediately.
When you think about this, we can make history. Now, this is not, I don't think, and the ideas, when they're popped, you don't know where they're going to go. And I'll tell you, quite frankly.
What ideas? You mean terrorist actions?
I mean actions consistent with liberty and the foundings of our country. When you think about it, every individual who will hear my voice can actively take part in making actual bona fide history.
I know, but most people don't get involved. I mean, you can have millions of listeners, and we try to do a money bomb, it raises $500,000. Sounds like a lot. I mean, that barely pays for anything. I mean, I spend half my time just trying to make money to get the truth out, and then I'm half burnt out by the time I get on air, just fiddle-fratting with money issues. But I hear you. Like, I didn't even plug but once today products on air. Please go to InfoWarsHealth.com, get the new Beyond Tangy Tangerine. Please get the Modify line. It's at InfoWarsStore.com or call 888-253-3139 and get the new film, State of Mind, on DVD if you want to support us. I mean, we're not perfect, but we're up there with the best there is in fighting this whole new world order. We're just going to go into more overdrive straight ahead. We'll see if I can compose myself and not do any more voices. Who is that crazy person, guys, you just had on the air? Get that guy out of here. Somebody just broke in over the satellite. Did you hear that? Talking bad about my girlfriend, Rachel Maddow. Most beautiful woman in the world. The femininity is just, ugh. Oh, yeah. Better put a ring on her finger before the wiener gets in there. Yeah, Wiener's on TV right now. The headline is Wiener Speaks. They just make jokes everywhere on Fox. Wiener Speaks. You know what happens if you... all right, I'm not going to say it. They had a joke going on in the back of the office because everything's so politically correct. No, it's true. What happens if you cross an Irishman with Wiener? You would get a McWiener. And maybe McDonald's, well, I'm part Irish, I can make the joke. I mean, give me a break, folks. Maybe that's the answer, is that we have McDonald's and sell that idea to McDonald's. A pure GMO wiener, a McWiener. A McWiener! What's more American than a McWiener? Is that a good idea? And I guess if he was Scottish, it'd be a McWiener. What if he was British? It'd be a lime wiener. Oh, my goodness. Hey, Hey, now I'm getting hungry. A kraut wiener? That would be even, I like sauerkraut on my hot dogs. If I'm going to eat a hot dog, I'd have sauerkraut and onions and the yellow stuff, the mustard on top of there. Well, I could go some really bad places with this. I'm going to stop right now. Folks, what happens is I had a really stressful night last night. I get a little bit punch drunk. Then I get on air and the wheels come off. It's what's happening right now. That's why I quit doing 4 hours. I just cannot do 4 hours because I start screwing around. I apologize. Let's go to calls. That's why I'm in overdrive, is to take your calls. Ziggy. I'm a fan, by the way, Ziggy, from Tennessee, of your funny papers in the paper, of your cartoon. Go ahead.
Oh, well, I was just wanting to tell you that, I'm one of those people who are really concerned about our country.
You're a terrorist?
I'm concerned about where it's going, and that's why I contributed to the contest. I live in a motel. I work 7 days a week. If I miss 3 days, I'm not eating. So I sent you my widow's mite, and I hope you got it. It was a song called "The Ones Who Want You Gone." I had a cheap video made. Took like a day to shoot.
I tell you what, let's cue it up and play it right now. I haven't even seen it. We'll play part of it at least. It's on YouTube. What's the name of it?
It's called "The Ones Who Want You Gone."
The Ones Who Want You Gone. And what's the name of your channel?
I'm on InfoWars contest entries where I find it.
No, I know, but we'll need to search it on YouTube. Just say the name again.
It's Ziggy Parton, ZIGGYPARTON.
Ziggy Parton, and then the name of the video one more time?
Is The Ones Who Want You Gone.
The Ones Who Want You Gone. Well, listen, that's your good widows, mate, and that's how they get the working poor, where you can't ever get the credit or the money you need to get the apartment. And then I talked to big apartment managers. They're ordered by the federal government to give the illegals the apartment with no proof, preferential treatment over Americans, whether you be white, Hispanic, black, whatever. And then you get stuck in these weekly hotels where you can never save enough money to get out of them. And that's where churches used to come around, the real working poor, so they could save money. You don't have family you can move in with till you save enough money to get on your feet?
No, I'm pretty happy where I'm at. I work 7 days a week at maintaining an RV campsite.
Well, if you're happy then, brother, good job.
So,
hallelujah. Well, good. Yeah, as long as you know that you love the universe and God. I mean, it's just every day is a banquet. It's just beauty everywhere. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to say, if you like the song, I mean, you're welcome to use it. Maybe enhance it audioly, because I engineered it myself. I'm not a good.
Well, we got stuff like Crazy Like Alex Jones and Info Warrior and so much great music we've been sent. We should put more of that in rotation and play more of it, then encourage others to make more. So that's a great idea. Let me let you go, Ziggy, and I'll play a little bit of this if our computer doesn't hiccup today like it was doing. We got 3 of them in there, but Lord knows, how internet is these days. Do we have it queued up and ready? All right, let's go to...
If I were the devil, if I were the prince of darkness, I'd want to engulf the whole world in darkness, and I'd have 1/3 of its real estate and 4/5 of its population, but I wouldn't be happy until I had seized the ripest apple on the tree. So I'd set about, however necessary, to take over the United States. I'd subvert the churches first. I'd begin with a campaign of whispers. With the wisdom of a serpent, I would whisper to you as I whispered to Eve, do as you please. To the young, I would whisper that the Bible is a myth. I would convince them that man created God instead of the other way around. I would confide that what's bad is good and what's good is square. And the old I would teach to pray after me, Our Father, which art in Washington. And then I'd get organized. I'd educate authors in how to make lurid literature exciting so that anything else would appear dull and uninteresting. I'd threaten TV with dirtier movies and vice versa. I'd peddle narcotics to whom I could. I'd sell alcohol to ladies and gentlemen of distinction. I'd tranquilize the rest with pills. If I were the devil, I'd soon have families at war with themselves, churches at war with themselves, and nations at war with themselves, until each in its turn was consumed. And with promises of higher ratings, I'd have mesmerizing media fanning the flames. If I were the devil, I would encourage schools to refine young intellects, but neglect to discipline emotions, just let those run wild. Until before you knew it, you'd have to have drug-sniffing dogs and metal detectors at every schoolhouse door. Within a decade, I'd have prisons overflowing. I'd have judges promoting pornography. Soon I could evict God from the courthouse, then from the schoolhouse, and then from the houses of Congress. And in his own churches, I would substitute psychology for religion and deify science. I would lure priests and pastors into misusing boys and girls and church money. If I were the devil, I'd make the symbol of Easter an egg and the symbol of Christmas a bottle. If I were the devil, I'd take from those who have and give to those who wanted until I had killed the incentive of the ambitious. What'll you bet? I couldn't get whole states to promote gambling as the way to get rich. I would caution against extremes in hard work, in patriotism, in moral conduct. I would convince the young that marriage is old-fashioned, that swinging is more fun, that what you see on TV is the way to be. And thus I could undress you in public, and I could lure you into bed with diseases for which there is no cure. In other words, if I were the devil, I'd just be right on doing what he's doing.
That's pretty good music for a guy who's almost homeless. It says the ones who want you gone. It's only got 50-something views. Let's get it to 10,000 views. Hear the whole song on YouTube. So, yeah, we got over 600 entries, and a lot of them, hundreds of them were like that. A lot of effort. Paul Harvey, very powerful info, mixed together. And that is a widow's mite, but it's great. It's a lot better than what I put out probably the first couple of years. So it's a lot better than what I put out a lot of the time. You don't get Darth Vader imitations everywhere, though, folks. Bubba in Virginia, thanks for holding, sir. You're on the air.
Oh, thank you, Alex. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you, brother.
Met you last year at Chantilly at the Bilderberg protest. It was really awesome. There's a couple things I was wanting to address with you. One is I take the train to work. I work up close to the District of Criminals there.
Oh, and you get to have TSA search you without warrants and stuff?
That's right. They're probably every other week they come around. Sometimes they have their little dogs with them with the...
Yeah, they're looking for the bombs that they put at the Boston Marathon.
And they come around. They've never approached me, but some people I know they've approached them, and I said, "What happened?" They said, "Oh, they asked if they could look at my bag." I said, and he says, "Well, I don't have anything to hide." And I said, like, "No, that's not the point."
Yeah, no, they're setting now the state police in Texas, they don't even say, "Mind if I stick my hand in your rear end?" Without a warrant, they go, "Get up against the car." And we're such animals. At an animal veterinary clinic, they change gloves. They don't change gloves because we're lower than animals.
Yeah, so they're
and guess what, cops that act like that, so are your kids. You just committed your children to hell. I'm sorry, go ahead.
But it's a lot of the psyche that's going on. It's the psyop that they're conducting, too, because they walk around through there just to get people used to them being there. And it's not like Andy and Barney walking around. It's like the Gestapo, the night police come in. You know, they have their little fancy holsters on and their leg straps. And they're
it's all government parading around that we've been conquered, planting the flag, and they even know it. And then they give them fake threats to feel like they're real. And they did the Boston bombing. I mean, of course, it's an authoritarian, mass-murdering criminal government. And it's all fake, and it's all unconstitutional, and it's all criminal. Because they're not going to let us decriminalize drugs so they can't make their money. They're not going to let us not, let our kids take their deadly shots. They want to run our lives. And they're average idiots. I shouldn't say that. A lot of the people that work in the government are actually more awake than most people because they know we're telling the truth. But the types that they get to go to those stupid Viper teams, I've seen them on the streets of L.A., not even at a bus terminal, walk up and go, "Why are you filming? You can't film me." Well, we had a reporter up in Chicago outside the train station at a restaurant. They come over and say, "You're not allowed to film us. You put us on the internet last week. I'll arrest you if you film me again." Just totally criminal, outside of law, just flaming authoritarians. Bubba, I mean, I'd go over to him and say, "You're just here to acclimate people to checkpoints, and I know you've been told that. Why do you think this is being done? Because they're going to take everybody's pension funds, and you guys are the incremental rollout of martial law. Let us see your ID." "No, I came over to you. I want to see your ID." You going to go talk to him?
All the time. Just like you said, they're taking the pension funds. They do it almost every year at Christmas. Timothy Geithner, whoever's running the Gestapo down there, they come in there and they take it, like over Christmas break or something. They'll come in there and take all the money out of the G fund and the TSP, and they'll just take it.
No, it's Tiny Tim. Listen, let me tell you, those waddling TSA people, they just care about being able to tell a woman up against the wall. They don't care if everything gets taken from them. They love it. They can never admit they're being gamed. So, see, they'll never admit that. I appreciate your call. Let's plug up a Ron Paul, then I'm going to go to John and others that are patiently holding. Let's go ahead and go to this Ron Paul clip on gold and the bankruptcy of Detroit. Detroit, broke city. Go ahead, you're on the air.
I would still stick to my argument that gold is a real good long-term identifier on the value of a currency and the value of our dollar. I mean, if you look at the 100 years, it's very easy. $20 up to $1,800, now still $1,300, and we're printing money faster than ever. And there's pretty good evidence right now there's a shortage of physical gold. The physical gold market has always been strong, and that's going to continue. This is going to be sorted out, and after these corrections, sometimes you see an explosion. Even though I'm not into as a technician on gold, I suspect that could happen. But I think long-term you can expect governments not to change. We're going to see more Detroits. Eventually, the government of the United States will be somewhat similar to Detroit because people will give up their confidence in us. They're going to give up confidence in the dollar, and eventually they'll give up confidence on our military, and then you are going to see some real changes in this system, which has been built on a fiat dollar for the last 40 years.
Dr. Paul, you mentioned the Detroit bankruptcy, and you said that may not be the last one that we're going to see. How do you think this story plays out, not only in Detroit, but also nationally?
Well, you know, I'll be surprised if the feds don't come in. They probably won't say they are, but they're already in. I mean, think of all the welfare programs. Every time somebody's unemployed, they're going to get some benefits. The food stamps won't start, so the feds are very much involved. But there's going to be a lot more cities, and there will be a limit. It might push it over. You know, if 10 cities declare tomorrow and the feds say, well, we can't let this happen, we got to bail them out like we bailed out the banks, 5
And again, folks, it's all just fiat money. None of it in the end will help anybody except the globalists that loan it to them. They take our money from the Treasury. The Treasury basically creates IOUs that we owe is what happens. And then the Federal Reserve puts it out and then gives the order to the Treasury to put out the physical, but then the Federal Reserve puts out 97% plus of the fiat, and then we go into debt to them. They get the whole world. The deeper they get us in debt, they get real assets when it all goes under. And they get to use the money when it still has fiat value on the way up. And on the way down, that's when they really consolidate everything and have guys in black uniforms walk around and shoot anybody that gets in the way of it until all of America is Detroit, broke city. We're coming back with your phone calls. You ought to hear the conversations during the breaks. I'm like, hey, John Harmon up there at the Minnesota Network who's helping run the satellites and stuff. Do you think a new listener tuning in when I kind of get crazy sometimes on Fridays knows what's going on? He goes, I don't know. They tune in and hear you saying Unga Bunga. I mean, it's like, I don't even care anymore. I mean, we got to stop caring what people think anyways. You know, and I got to have some rest and relaxation on the air sometimes. This stuff gets to me, folks. The only solace is the evil people helping bring this in are all going to get bit in the butt by what they're doing. They're not going to get away with it either. But I don't even really take pleasure in that. I just wish they weren't so bad. But they like it. It's just their nature. Let's go real quick to John. Then we're going to talk to Travis and a few others. John, thanks for holding. From Wyoming, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah, Alex, on Wednesday's NBC Nightly News, they accidentally showed what, to me, was proof positive they never did the bin Laden raid.
They've classified it from the military. The highest level people in the Pentagon can't look at it because it didn't happen, but go ahead.
Right. What happened, their chief foreign correspondent, Richard Engel, who's normally in the Middle East, well, this time he was at Langley at CIA headquarters, and they were giving him a personal tour through the CIA museum, which is not open to the general public.
Oh, yeah, and they showed bin Laden's AK-47?
Yeah, which was not his, because look at all of the file photos of bin Laden. He's carrying one of those shortened models. It was an AKS-74U that has about a 12-inch barrel. It's not really an assault rifle.
Well, of course it's fake. It might as well be Ripley's, believe it or not, with some giant's foot in a bottle of formaldehyde or one of those things where they put a carp onto a monkey skull and say it's a merman. I mean, it's, they might as well like one of those snake pits they have on the side of the highway where you see some alligator sitting. I mean, yeah, it's just total bull. Kurt Nemo wrote about that. CIA museum shows off AK-47 taken from dead bin Laden like something out of Ripley's Believe It or Not. Go ahead.
Well, but bin Laden's gun was in pristine condition with a 12-inch barrel. They showed an old ragged-out AK-47 with a 16-inch barrel that was in trashy condition. It was not the same gun. Look at the photos.
Well, listen, do you know what else they have at that museum? They have the gun that when they killed Santa Claus he had a few years ago. They had a raid on the North Pole, and they even have Santa Claus taxidermied at the CIA base. And My Little Pony lives there, too. Did you know that?
Well, whatever. Hey, I'm in for some serious stuff here because they accidentally showed us the truth, and now they're going to be backtracking because that was not bin Laden's
yeah, of course they have an internal CIA museum for all the... Nobody's more brainwashed than the people that work at those places. There's a bunch of people putting sunglasses. I see CIA people and stuff, and they can't help but like wear suits and put their glasses on and take them off. And oh my gosh, we're James Bond. No, you're just the front for the guys in the back with C-130s with kidnapped kids, and that's all on you. Okay, that's on your mojo, baby. You're losers. Thank you, John. I appreciate your call. Let's go real quick to Travis. You said you spoke with your police chief. What did he say? We should have more CIA snuff films?
Yes, Alex.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Hey, I wanted to ask why you didn't ask about the Black Bloc anarchists. I know you asked him about the Delta Force, and
he was told, he wasn't lying. He was told what to do. I talked to him later off air. He was told by Secret Service what to do. He wasn't running anything. That's why he apologizes and says it was wrong, but then he also takes the sword and says, but I'm responsible.
Well, yeah, he did say that, and that's what I thought. He goes, well, it was kind of a community thing, and I'm thinking, no way, pal. Everybody said, hey, we're doing this. You're standing over there. Because they held those guys, and I seen it in your documentary, and then they got them out of here before they got arrested for breaking the windows down there in town.
Well, I mean, look, they tell girls it's the law to take Gardasil when they know it kills a bunch of them. I mean, that's who these people are. I mean, they're a pack of psycho demons, and the police chief woke up and broke with them, and we say good job to him, but he's naive. I mean, people just cannot come to grips with what they're facing. I'll be back, Lord willing, this Sunday live, 4 to 6 p.m. And tonight, 7 o'clock, InfoWars Nightly News. Great job, crew. Go check out the Paul Revere contest page, Infowars.com/Paul.